What's going on? 6 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Two massive extensions in the NFL yesterday. The first in Detroit as Jared Goff signs a 4-year, $212 million contract extension that includes $170 million guaranteed. Goff goes from the number one overall pick to the highest paid Lion in franchise history. Remember Snoop Lion? He was probably the highest Lion. After going 3-10 in his first year in Detroit, Jared Goff went 21-3 over the next two seasons and took Detroit to its first NFC championship in over 32 years. Tampa Bay also backing up the Brinks truck for safety Antoine Winfield. The All-Pro signs a 4-year, $84 million deal that makes him the highest paid defensive back in NFL history. Winfield forced 9 turnovers in 2023, including a league-high 6 forced fumbles. In the NBA, the Thunder clapped the Mavs 196. Luka and Kyrie, tough night, combining to go 10 from 31 from the field as the series goes back to OKC. Boston handling the Donovan Mitchell-less Cavaliers 109-102. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown combining for 60 points. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Kicking off your Tuesday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. RKW is brewed up by 8th and Roast with a loaded show on the way. Only 4 hours to get to a lot of great conversations, a lot of headlines, and a lot of your reaction. On the phone line, 615-737-1045. We will be joined by voice of the Tennessee Titans, Mike Keith, discussing a little bit of rookie minicamp at 7:20. Titans president and CEO Burke Nihill at 8:20 this morning. There is an update on new Nissan Stadium that he will detail for us, plus our weekly visit with 3HL and SEC Networks. Ron Slay, as always, at 9:20. He has been opening up some candy bars on the West End all weekend long. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh is our producer. I'm Will Bowling. It is Tuesday, May the 14th. How are we doing, everybody? Good morning.
We're good. So what kind of candy bars does he prefer?
The ones that come from the West End don't matter, I don't think.
Do they have like caramel in them?
Yeah, he likes
nougat?
those. Yeah. He says he loves those caramellos or whatever. He said whatever they are, they must come from the West End.
What did you say, caramel?
Caramel. Yeah.
You say caramel.
I say caramel.
Caramel.
I say I'm between the two.
Caramel apple.
Oh, you are?
Caramel.
You say caramel apple or caramel
Not
apple?
caramel.
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 The horse's name was Friday.
That throws me off.
It's some of those words people just like to, have their way of saying it.
Anyway.
Like Nevada. It's Nevada.
No, I say Nevada.
It is Nevada. That's
It
the
is
correct.
Nevada.
There is a correct one on that
Yeah.
one. What? Isn't it Colorado also? And not Colorado?
Oh, I've always said Colorado.
Yeah.
Rado.
Oh, it's Rado?
Believe so.
What?
It's just a rad state.
It's news to me, man. Look what happens on Taco Tuesday, man. Just a whole lot of just enunciation out here, man. But all is good over this way, Will. Big show today. Solid show today,
Why'd
man.
you sound like a pilgrim? All is good over on this away, fellow Plymouth Rockian.
You don't wake up till 8 o'clock, man. What are you doing up at 6:04 this morning?
You brought me this big-ass, black-ass coffee.
Huge is what it is. You got on a smoky shirt today, man. Shout out to you. Everybody got,
That is a good smoky
sweatshirt.
shirt.
No, Will doesn't have on. So you like it in a blizzard. That's what that is, Will.
What blizzard are you talking about?
The studio.
The studio.
No.
Yes,
It's a blizzard in here.
Some of us were built different.
Yeah, that's what I'd say. Okay. Speaking of being built different, I did something that you says just make you cringe again these days, man. I ran yesterday.
Did you?
I ran yesterday.
you.
Yes.
On purpose?
Yeah, on
Or
purpose.
you was
man.
chasing you.
Yeah.
You should lawnmowers and cicadas. Lawnmowers and cicadas, man. Yesterday, me and my youngest got out and we did a walk-run regiment yesterday, man. Just told them, hey,
Nice.
look, physical conditioning precedes anything else. I'm building a machine right now, and his name is Miles.0, okay? That's what he's got going on right now.
Are you training for anything particular?
Football this fall.
Okay.
I told him I just didn't like the way him or his buddies looked this spring as I
Ooh.
jumped into middle school football coaching, okay? So I'm gonna break them off, man. They got an opportunity to see the other side of me this spring. And I wasn't going off. I was just real stern. I was real stern. I'm the type of guy to respect football. So if that's the case, we got to make sure we're in shape. We got to make sure we're mean. And I got to make sure those guys deliver on that, because now we going to be kicking faces in is what I told them. Not literally. We won't be out here like Haynes.
All right. Sometimes if you're getting up, you might kick a face or two.
Yeah. Sometimes, Kayla, you just take the fine, okay?
Exactly.
So, sometimes you just take the fine. That's where I'm at right now.
Is there a certain drill to get the meanness into something?
Yeah, for kids. No, in general, make them go against their peers. I've been teasing them too. It's like if he hits you hard, he's probably going to hit you harder. So it's always competition that I'm feeding them gunpowder when it comes down to that type of stuff. It's like, why are you hitting him soft? Hit him harder. Like if he gets his opportunity, he's going to hit you twice as hard. I'm just playing those games with him because psychologically, that's what Munch did to me and my crew. So yeah, that's probably what.
Yeah.
Coach Callahan.
That's what I was going to say. Spread the joy.
Yes, it's doing to the guys that he has now is you create competition amongst peers. Is the best way to get the most out of folks.
So you're saying the last 3 years or so there was no competition amongst the line. I'm
You
talking
maybe in
about
the middle
here?
school offensive line room. I don't know about Titans. I thought we were talking about middle schoolers.
No, I was about to say, it's like, whoa, I'm not criticizing those coaches. But what I'm seeing from Bill Callahan, it does seem like he's going to create a very hard individual period every single. All I've ever heard from his drill work is it sucks. Like he beats you down so much that you got to go have a great practice because you hopeful that he is easy the next day.
And it's like, do it again. That's one thing I realized when we were watching practice. It was like, if he did not like one little part of it, it was like, again?
Detail. Detail. Yes, indeed.
Titans added a tight end yesterday. Nick Vanette spent time with the Seahawks, Steelers, teammate of one Ramon Foster, Broncos, Saints, Giants, Texans, and Chargers. 94 career games, 6'6", 257, 91 career catches. He is a blocking tight end. And it is nice of Rand Carthon to add another former teammate of Ramon Foster's to the Tennessee Titans roster.
I swear I'm not. I guess I say
you got influence. Just embrace it.
That's just what it is.
Are you giving names and he's calling up?
I'm dropping nuggets here and there, Kayla. But Vanette, we'll talk about him, I know, later. But he's a guy, to Will's point, I think came out as a receiving type of tight end, and he's a bigger body guy and turned into a blocker for the most part. So it's funny how your career unfolds in the NFL. Like sometimes you do what it takes to stay in the league. And Vanette has somewhat transitioned into a better blocking tight end who has the ability to catch at times.
Yep. 53 games in college, 55 catches in college. So I think he always has kind of been a little bit more of a blocking guy too, but there you go. Another 2019 Pittsburgh Steeler.
There you go.
My last year,
coming to the good side.
Yeah, listen at you. I checked a lot of boxes that last year, man.
Well, he was pretty young though when he played in Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, because I was like, I covered him at Ohio State, and then he was drafted by the Seahawks. So I kind of followed his career a little bit, and then I didn't realize he ended up in Pittsburgh. Yeah, now I'm looking at it right now.
I think we ended up signing him late camp guy, or maybe even during the season, if I'm not mistaken. He was a super cool guy. Y'all love him.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, a big body guy, which is, again, why you utilize his blocking skills. Tight end is super unique position because they tease you with the idea that you can catch the ball, but most times in anything, you're going to be a blocker. That's what my high school coach did to me is, we'll give you number 85.
Was traded to the Steelers for a fifth-round pick.
Okay.
Jeez, Vanette, that's actually pretty solid.
Yeah.
Somebody trade me for a draft pick, I'd have lost my mind.
His last full season in Seattle, he was not bad. I think he had 3 touchdowns.
He did.
Just a solid player at that time. Now he's just an old geezer.
God, what? And he's like 29?
31.
Oh, he's already 31. Where is time going? My goodness.
I believe so. Unless I'm wrong. I could be.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Well, he's been around the league for a little while, though, too. So, again, more veteran guys that got to come in and prove themselves and prove that they want to stay in the league. If anything, this is going to push Tig and Wiley and other guys in the fold. Who knows what's to come of this? But Vanette definitely is a veteran that understands his role and how to play it.
Speaking of that real quick, I think it is good, and I don't know what will happen with, that tight end room, but I think it is good to have a veteran presence. Yeah. They haven't really had, or they don't have that right now, considering Chig is developing into being an older player at this point, but Josh Wiley's still very young. So I like this ad because they said they were going to add a handful of them for camp battles. So I think this is good.
Spirit of competition. Love it. Absolutely love that.
Streaming live at 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. That is where you interact with the show digitally. I think it's about a tie there.
That was a false start, dude. I'm going to pull the tape. He didn't even get Twitch out of his lips before you jumped in.
I do have Dawn's penalty flag that is over there by Kayla's seat. So.
Oh, it's right there.
I got it right now, Bert. You got to jump the snap count. I know the snap count. That's the thing about it. I know that you don't go on set. You don't go on HUD.
Coming up this morning, we'll get to some NFL headlines coming up in a few minutes. How one extension in the league affects a former Tennessee player, and a list on ESPN.com that does not include Titans that I think should. That we'll get to coming up in just a few minutes. Voice the Titans, Mike Keith at 7:20. Titans president and CEO Burke Nihill at 8:20. And, of course, Ron Slay in hour 4 on a loaded Tuesday morning that continues after this. Tuesday morning on RKW, brewed up by 8th and Rose. 615-737-1045 is how you join us. Go ahead and subscribe to the Ramon, Kayla, and Will podcast feed as you make your way into work this morning, as you maybe make your way into the kitchen to make coffee. Burke Nihill will be here at 8:20. There are new developments on the Titans stadium that he will break down for us. We'll hit it all with Burke, as we always do. And if you are unable to be here at 8 o'clock, first of all, we forgive you. Secondly, you atone for your errors by just subscribing to the Ramon, Kayla, Will podcast feed, wherever you download podcasts. So yesterday, Jared Goff got a bag from the Detroit Lions, 4-year deal, $212 million. He is the highest paid Detroit Lion ever. And the $53 million average annual salary in his new deal makes him the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL, behind only Joe Burrow. Is Jared Goff worth $53 million average annual salary, and is he good enough to win Detroit a Super Bowl?
I'm going to say yes, Will. He's worth it. Especially through Detroit. He's absolutely worth it. He's been one of the best things they've had at quarterback since Matthew Stafford, and before him, Charlie Batch. Okay, like that's how I feel about what Jared Goff has done, what he means to that team. Like, we're talking about value versus actually importance to a team. I think he somewhat fits both of those buildings right there. One, the market suggests he's supposed to get paid handsomely, and he did. Detroit has a guy that's super important to him and has had the most amount of success under him than almost any other quarterback. I think even more so than what Stafford has done in his career. I think Stafford's won, double-digit games 2 times there, and Goff is trending on the way to where he can really take them to a different dimension as far as what the expectations are, how they've built around him, the young weapons, the defense. He checks every box to me as it pertains to, is he worth it? Yes, because, again, as I said, he's next up. He's super important to him, and I'll even say this in comparison to him. You look at the career side by side, and I know one doesn't match the other because Matthew Stafford has the ring. They said, screw all those draft picks, and they built around them. They had a monster defense as it pertains to what the Rams had going on in that era. I think they could have possibly done the same things with Jared Goff, although Matthew Stafford has ice in his veins in that Super Bowl. He had the ability to understand how to play the game because he was a little bit older and more seasoned than Jared Goff. I think that Jared Goff got the short end of the stick to where the hourglass was running. The hourglass was running out of sand, and they needed to win now. I think they could have did similar things in L.A. with Jared Goff. It's a matter of what fits your offense better. And it seems to me that Matthew Stafford fit the Sean McVay offense as far as the detail, how he manages and go about making hard plays in their offense in that Super Bowl run. He hasn't really done a whole lot since then. I know the team is somewhat broken up. Aaron Donald's retiring right now. But yes, Will, long answer, I think Jared Goff is worth it, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do this year. I've been secretly rooting for the Detroit Lions for a while, and I'm going to do that up until they start winning big time, I guess, probably the same way everybody did Patrick Mahomes.
Such a fascinating story, and one that I didn't think would necessarily work out in Jared Goff's favor in the long run, just because, this is a California guy, and, playing for the Rams, he's a guy that, by the way, took them to a Super Bowl appearance. Let's not forget that part of it. So he's been to a Super Bowl. Now the next mission is to win it. But this is a guy, when he was swapped for Matthew Stafford, was miserable in his first year in Detroit. I mean, everything was different, right? The environment was different. The weather was different. Your teammates are different. And I really think after that first year, it was hard to see what you were going to get out of Goff. And it looked like at the time, with Matthew Stafford winning a Super Bowl in 2021, that Stafford was the big get, that Stafford was going to be the better part of this deal. But now, in the last couple of years, it shifted with Matthew Stafford going through injury after injury. You're right, the team has changed around him. Meanwhile, Jared Goff has become a king in Detroit. Not only do the fans love him, but his team has totally embraced him, and rightfully so. He's been really good in terms of when he needs to be good. And he took them to the playoffs last year. And, they, I think, have an opportunity this year with Jared Goff just by how he's played steady ball. He's been healthy. And now you add even more in terms of weapons. I really do feel like he can win them a Super Bowl because, again, he's taken them, in terms of the Rams, to a Super Bowl before. It's just winning it. And I think this is a better cast around him now. And I'm not going to say a better coach, but maybe a better fit for Jared at this point. And now he's got confidence back that he can do that.
Jordan tweets at us and says, no, Jared Goff cannot win a Super Bowl because the last 17 quarterbacks to lose their Super Bowl debut haven't made it back.
Interesting.
Which I did not know was a stat, but it does make sense.
Really interesting stat.
Joe Burrow, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jared Goff, Matt Ryan, Cam Newton, Colin Kaepernick, Rex Grossman, Matt Hasselbeck, Donovan McNabb. That's just halfway down the list. Jake Delhomme, Rich Gannon, Kerry Collins, Steve McNair, Chris Chandler, Drew Bledsoe, Neil O'Donnell, Stan Humphries.
Here's the difference, I think, in that conversation right there as it pertains to golf. Those dudes were on teams that were at the peak of their, I guess, greatness at the time, too. All of those teams, like the Carolina Panthers, didn't get back that good. Like, Goff went early and then ended up getting traded. And now he's on a new team that's trying to reach the pinnacle again. Like, this, to me, I think is two separate situations. Which one of those guys have gone to other teams and have actually been on better teams also? I think Goff now is in a way better situation than what he was in L.A. when he went the first time. He's got a solid O-line. He's got a running game. He's got weapons around him. They've built up this defense to be young. The biggest thing that can bite them in the butt is a younger defense that he has to figure out, can they support each other? I think that was a separator in L.A. to me, with watching how Aaron Donald ate all the dudes they went after. They went for Vaughn. They went for everybody on that on that run. I mean, Jalen. I mean, goodness gracious, Jalen Ramsey. They went for everybody. So I think if you look at situation to situation, Goff's is totally different than almost everybody else on that list that you just named. Carolina got no better after Cam. I don't think McNabb got any better on the same team after he went and lost in the Super Bowl. That, to me, I think is a separator between him and the other 17.
4,575 yards, 30 touchdowns, 12 interceptions last season for Jared Goff, leading the Lions to 2 playoff victories in a single postseason for the first time since 1957. Detroit's also first division title in more than 3 decades. They could absolutely win a Super Bowl with him. Any quarterback that's throwing for 4,500 yards is a Super Bowl caliber quarterback.
And you look at the Division II right now in terms of the NFC North, and their path to get there. So Chicago has obviously got some new blood, but I think in Caleb's first season, it's hard to tell what they're going to be. So I feel like Chicago is definitely manageable. The Vikings, another situation with J.J. McCarthy. You've got a rookie quarterback. And Green Bay, I think that's the one you look out for in terms of Jordan Love. Does he continue to ascend? I think we've seen some great play in terms of where he could go, but I'm still a little bit halfway in and out on that. So I really feel like they can control that division too, making their path, to the Super Bowl easier.
So what does this mean for Hendon Hooker, who now continues to be the second oldest quarterback in the NFC North? Which is a real stat now that Kirk Cousins is gone. Jordan Love is younger than he is. And J.J. McCarthy is the starting quarterback in Minnesota.
This is what he does. He get his Jordan Love on. He get his Chase Daniels, his Charlie Whitehurst, his Jimmy Clausen. You become a backup quarterback. It's what you do. You ride that wave. Chase Daniels and Brian Hoyer are two of the dudes that I ain't going to say had opportunity, but they had respect around the league to where they could play at other places in spurts. The thing about Hendon and his quarterback career is this. Nobody knows what you are if you don't play. His biggest attribute he has right now, Will, is stay in that system, be the best friggin' backup that he can possibly be. And when his number is called, if Jared Goff is out of game, it's to perform high. Perform well. Pull a Jimmy G if you have to. Pull a Brock Osweiler if you have to. That, to me, is his pathway moving forward. You don't pay a guy $53 million a year and look at the backup anymore.
That's a tough situation for Hendon Hooker because maybe this is just selfishly, I want to see him at some capacity, whether that be a backup. I'd just like to see a little bit of his play at the next level and, see where he's at. This, I think, had been an opportunity for him to grow, to be on a team that clearly is very well thought of, and the organization is doing things the right way. And you've got a guy like Goff there that seems like he's a dude you can learn from too, in terms of being a pro. But at some point, because he was already a little bit older of a quarterback in the league, you want to get a chance. And it doesn't look like it will be a starter right now at any point, but just to even be a backup, you're right, Ramon, just if you go to another team, perhaps if somebody sees a little bit of you there in Detroit, if you're in for 2 games or anything like that, to make you valuable as a backup somewhere else, that's kind of how you're able to get your in. But I really still think Hendon can play, at least in terms of being a backup in this league.
If you're good enough, they'll find you. There is enough desperation for a good quarterback in this league. The fact that Aiden O'Connell is a day 1 starter right now in 2024. If you're good enough in practice, if you're good enough in preseason, if you're good enough in spot duty, if and when Jared Goff needs relief, then you will get moved somewhere that needs a quarterback. Just point blank. There are too many quarterback needy teams in this league. I think Hendon Hooker is on his way to becoming another kind of Josh Dobbs quarterback. And I think the positive is that Dobbs had to wait, but Dobbs did get his opportunity. Because again, when you're that smart of a guy, when you're that good of a locker room guy, you make yourself valuable just as a resource to the starting quarterback. And that is where Dobbs, from firsthand from what Ramon has told us, is invaluable. He's not a big personality that's going to distract and take away from who the starter is. You're likely getting another voice in that room that's going to add to what the starter is seeing and round out the entire experience of being a quarterback in that room, right? So that is where I think Hooker will make his money in this league. I think he will start at some point in his career somewhere. There is too much talent not to, and there are too many bad teams that don't have quarterbacks for someone to not take a chance on his arm talent.
And a lot of these older backups, by the way, who have been able to be stepping in stars, they're older. Right? They're kind of, you're seeing those guys fade into the distance, like we've seen some of these, Tom Brady's and Aaron Rodgers soon to be gone. Yeah. I feel like that's also the case with some of these really good backups. So it's almost like you get another group of them.
Yeah. And what's good about that situation, though, is like you said, Hendon has he has an arm talent. He will be fine as it pertains to knowing how to run an NFL offense. I think this growth period for him is probably better for his career than almost anything. Why get exposed super early? And he's on a winning team. All that stuff right there matters to me for the most part when you look at a guy who's in a backup role. Here's one thing I have to ask you guys about Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford. And if y'all remember at the time, I was paying attention, but not like that. Here's something that's confusing. Why Stafford to L.A.? Do y'all remember?
He's good. At the time, last season in Detroit, he was solid. He put up good numbers on a bad team.
The last season in Detroit was 2020, and he was 64% over 4,000 yards. Yeah. Did he make it 16 games? Okay.
Over 4,000 yards on that team, and that's a Calvin Johnson-less Detroit.
So we're looking at the arm talent more than anything. Because
Absolutely.
Here's the thing. When you look at, does completion or arm talent completion percentage or arm talent matter better? Because as it stands right now, Jared Goff has way better completion rate than Matthew Stafford.
Sure.
Are we blaming Detroit for that, for being bad? Or is Jared Goff just bad labeled early? And the other thing behind Goff is Goff ain't even 30 yet.
There's not just one stat that matters most, in my opinion. Yeah, it's the evaluation process of marrying the numbers with what you see on tape. And if you see that somebody is throwing 64% for 3,000 yards and you think that in your offense there's enough talent there to get to 4,000 yards with your wide receivers and your line, then you make a move.
And you make that move.
And it worked. I mean, they won a Super Bowl, and the Lions have now gotten a historic amount of success with Jared Goff. And Ross Tucker tweeted this yesterday. He said, I'm old enough to remember when the Lions had to give or had to take an extra first-round pick just to take on Jared Goff's contract because he was getting paid so much money already. Yeah. This was seen as a salary dump. We're getting our guy. we're at least going to give you draft picks to draft your quarterback whenever you're done with Goff, because surely he's not going to make it to another contract with you. And now he has.
They gave up on him, in my opinion, in LA.
Of course.
And I think it's, you look at the comparison now between the two, and I mentioned the injuries have plagued Matthew Stafford. And you're just seeing the increase in terms of Goff's numbers in the last couple of seasons. It proves it right there that, he's on the ascend and Matthew's on the descend. But then again, Matthew Stafford brought the Rams a Super Bowl trophy.
He did. It was the right trade to make. It was. Yeah. Clear. He fits the system and has enough moxie in him to complete the plays. I think that was the separator between Goff and him. And again, I'll give full credit for Stafford being probably the last piece that they needed. But when you look at that defense, when you look at the offense that he had around him, they also had Whitworth on that team that they didn't have a guy like him in the beginning, Andrew Whitworth. Yeah. Like, they had one of the better O-lines. Running games was the running back game that they had was plug and play at almost anybody. They had the receiver. Robert Woods was a part of that team. Think about every weapon that they have. And I'll say this. Goff, I feel, did it with less. But even still, you always looking to upgrade. That's why I always tell people, take your emotions out of your players getting traded, because at the end of the day, it's about how can we win, how can we save our job, and who's going to be the best fit for us to get a Super Bowl.
It's funny, when you look at the numbers, you know who Jared Goff's Detroit numbers remind me of? Ryan Tannehill.
Oh, interesting.
Good Ryan Tannehill in 2020 and 2021 has similar numbers to Jared Goff in Detroit.
Separator to me, Jared Goff in Detroit he's one deeper in the playoffs. So.
Both of course.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, well, actually, they've gotten to the same stage.
Yeah.
AFC Championship and NFC Championship.
Forget about that.
I know.
In 2021, Jared Goff and Ryan Tannehill had an identical completion percentage, 67.2%.
Okay.
Goff was 231 yards per game. Tannehill was 219. Quarterback rating for Goff was 91.5, and for Tannehill, 89.6.
Don't do that, Will. You're trying to crush my dream of saying I think Goff can win, man.
Well, look, he's younger than what Tannehill was doing in his mid-30s. Okay. He can absolutely win because he can maintain that level longer than Ryan could. Yeah. And I don't think Detroit is going to just trade away their best receiver. They extended Amon-Ra St. Brown. The Titans traded A.J. Brown.
And I don't think his offensive line just drops off in a matter of 1 year.
That's one thing they got is a heck of an offensive line.
Homegrown, we always say, for the most part.
They will, though, come up against the same challenge the Titans did. That it's great when Jared Goff is making a lot of money and not all of the money. Jared Goff is now making all of the money. Penei Sewell is now making all of the money. Amon-Ra St. Brown is making so much money. Like, they're going to have to go cheap somewhere now because they just gave out, I think it was $444 million worth of extensions just this offseason.
Right now, it's the defensive side of it that's super cheap, if I'm not mistaken. Like, Aiden Hutchinson is still cheap. They got a couple of DBs that are still very cheap out there right now.
And Mark says Goff got to a Super Bowl. Tannehill didn't. Yeah, that's in L.A. We're talking about Detroit, Jared Goff, which is kind of a second career that has begun for him.
The second birth.
Wow.
615-737-1045 is our number. Coming up, speaking of Detroit, one of their rookies said something in the media over the weekend, and I'm really sad this guy's not a Tennessee Titan. That's coming up next. Tuesday morning, wrap it up hour number 1 on RKW. Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Brewed up by 8th and Rose. 615-737-1045, the number. All right, so there was a rookie talking at Detroit rookie minicamp over the weekend who's got that dog in him. Terrion Arnold, cornerback out of Alabama, was asked about his mom.
Love it.
And said he would jam his mom into the dirt if he could. This was Lions rookie first-round pick, Terrion Arnold.
Well, that comes from my mom and my aunt, but at the same time, just my competitiveness. That grows up in, like, my whole family. Like, even as a kid, when I used to beat my mom in racing, like, I had to genuinely beat her. When we used to fight, when I was younger, just wrestling with her or playing around, like, man, I'll never forget, like, one time my mom kicked my tooth out because we were just going at it so hard. So, if my mom was out here right now and she lined up across me as a receiver, I would jam her into the dirt. That's just that's my mindset. And my mom knows that right now.
Terrion Arnold, confirmed football guy.
Oh, yeah.
Big football guy is what he is.
He had done some pre-draft interviews, and I think that's where I fell in love with him in terms of his personality, because you just knew from the get that he was a competitor. And I had not heard that story about his mom, an auntie who he gets obviously that edge from. But the whole thing about the wrestling, like I was rolling in terms of, and my mom knows it, I would put her face in the ground. You know, just the fact that he shared that story is great. I love when they're able to have, teams are able to have personalities like that. And especially in that position, Ramon, I feel like you got to have a little bit of an edge.
You do in that position. It's super fascinating. A guy like him, man, I guarantee his mom called him right after that, like, boy, have you lost your mind? Because I'll help you find it, okay? And he also has some other stuff, too, that was said about, his pathway to being drafted. I thought that was super unique. A coin flip between him and Brock Bowers at 13 for the Raiders. But that, again, is one of those situations where a guy like him has a super amount of talent, man, and it's probably going to be one of those picks for the Detroit Lions that ascend to the top again if he can stay healthy. I think they had a top 10 pick not that long ago that was injured. But I love those sound bites. Is this rookie class not the most charismatic group we've seen?
They're really
I was
good.
going to say, choose your fighter, Keon Coleman or Terrion Arnold.
Yeah,
and Keon Coleman who said, I'm not Tiger Woods, I'm Tiger Wish he could.
Tiger Wish he could. He has the
best.
He has the best sound bites right now. I'm hoping for all the success in the world for Keon Coleman.
He's awesome. And I think he's garnishing so much attention just because he sticks out. And not in terms of if that's your team, hopefully he does good things. I'm sure other people don't want to see him do big things. But is this like a product of just the new generation of college players where they're so good? Because I noticed that with J.C. Latham, with Tavondre Sweat. I mean, these guys are good out of the gate in terms of just speaking and kind of the charisma that comes with it, and the humor. There's a little bit of humor mixed in. I don't know if it's something different. I didn't notice it as much in the 6 years ago, let's say, with these rookies.
I just think we have more coverage now.
Yeah.
I feel like guys have always been like this.
Well, yeah, I'll say that too. Football players get a bad rep of not being the best interviewers and stuff like that. So I think it's exposure to Will just saying. I think it's the fact that they do it so much in college. I think everything is all about their content and their brand. Like I genuinely do think that Terrion Arnold and Keon Coleman are just that good, and J.C. Latham too. Like legitimately listening to J.C. Latham, I think if he did a monologue of just talking, everybody would listen.
He's so good.
Just not a podcast, please.
Yeah, not yet. Please,
no
not
line
yet.
podcast.
Please. You can invite him to your podcast, but do not do the podcast yet. Let's win some games and get solidified on that left side first. But
everybody loves Keon Coleman so much, I won't be the only Josh Allen defender pretty soon.
Oh,
there'll be more Josh Allen respect on this show. This is going to be great.
We'll see where that goes.
It might be, man.
I don't dislike Josh Allen, by the way. I just, have had my opinions about him in terms of the window that has been open and the lack of production in the postseason.
My thing is this. If we think he's that good, then he's supposed to make Keon Coleman a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
Period.
Fair.
Rookie year?
He should.
I think he could do some big things his rookie year, Keon.
Rookie year? Well, yes, because they haven't got many weapons beside Keon
I'll say
Coleman.
by year 3. We got Dalton Kincaid.
I'm putting them up there. I know, but as far as wide receivers, like I love the tight ends.
Yeah, their tight ends are like solidified.
I love the tight ends. The same way Baltimore has theirs, but it's on Josh Allen now to make his wide receivers a pro. This is his guy. They traded for Stephon Diggs. No, this is his guy. Did Gabe Davis become a Pro Bowler? I don't think so.
What about 1,000-yard season? I don't love Pro Bowl as a determining factor now because you get so many like Super Bowl exemptions for some guys that make it all the way. That like Mac Jones was a Pro Bowler a couple years ago.
That's very true. 1,000 yards. He's supposed to make him a big second contract guy. Who do we have on last week that spoke about the quarterback has to make the wide receivers?
Michael Lombardi. Is who we had on. Yeah,
that's where I am with him, and it ain't no knock on him. I like Josh Allen. I do. But I want to see him turn his own wide receivers into stars. Same way Brady did, the same way we're talking about Stafford, the same way we're talking about Amon-Ra St. Brown. Think about that with Goff. Think about Patrick. It's now time for Josh Allen to take that next step.
Week 2, we have another confirmed NFL game as the NFL continues to hold us in the palm of their hands. Burrowhead, Bengals Chiefs, Kansas City, Week 2. 3:25 on CBS.
Just back-to-back home games for the Chiefs.
Sure.
Is this just the leak leading up to the release? Is every
this is
Chiefs
official.
Game?
Yeah,
every Chiefs game will be on there.
Love that, Bert, man. We're going into that game 1-0 against the Bengals.
Is he even listening
Nothing
to you back
he's
there?
listening.
Okay.
Yeah, he's listening.
I know sometimes he can't hear us. So.
He's listening. He's listening, man. The Chiefs, I mean, heck, what do you want from them?
Anyway, as Ramon was saying, it should be a really great game.
Ramon's he's going to take a break.
Classic rivalry, 2 weeks in a row for Mahomes, and you don't have to worry about Joe Burrow being injured because it's week 2.
Wow.
No.
There he is.
There is hope.
There is. Now
I was gonna say, how about we'll spin it as Cincinnati's first trip to Kansas City without Brian Callahan as their offensive coordinator.
There you go.
There we go.
That's a diplomatic way
And
to
without
do it.
Tyler Boyd as their slot receiver.
That's very true.
Who officially signed yesterday.
That is correct.
Seems happy to be here. Saw a little clip from him after he signed his contract. Seems like a level-headed guy, right? Who's not always trying to get ahead of himself, but just ready for the next mission in his journey. So if he can contribute here, see it happen. It'd be really nice.
I look forward to the day that it like bye weeks. We always say, like every coach says, this bye week came at the perfect time. There's never been a bye week that's ever come at the wrong time. One day somebody makes a signing. Yeah, his player's pretty average. He won't add much.
That's kind of how we sounded this morning. Never mind.
About who?
I'm moderately excited to be here.
Oh,
he says in a release per the team.
Player. Okay, I got you. I'm here for it.
Where are you going with this now?
I was out talking
about Nick Vannett.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're saying this morning.
Well, the Titans signed a blocking tight end.
Yeah,
it's Groundhog Day.
Yeah. You know, we got to dress it up a little bit. Titans signed 2 offensive weapons in one day.
See what I'm saying?
I just want to see that safety thing.
New Jeff Swaim dropped.
Yeah. Hey, we'll see.
Keep Jeff Swaim far from this organization.
Tight end,
what does Jeff Swaim do?
Look.
The blocking
Jeff
tight end.
He's a nice
what is he supposed
guy.
to
He's
be?
a fine guy. I just don't want. He reminds me of the old era. So let's just.
That's Nick Vannett plays the same position. He
reminds
that's the same
me of
player.
The old era.
Yeah, you tell him, Caleb.
Blocking tight ends.
I can't get behind anybody that spells Jeff with a G. Get out of here.
Yeah.
That's not. Get out of here,
It's
G
not right.
off.
It's like
Not
drinking
right.
boxed wine and expecting it to be $1,000 bottle of wine. You get what you pay for.
I love Rex Goliath, and I hate the people that spell Jeff with a G.
Coming off, the Titans debut Titans House. Everything you need to know about the process in which the Titans are helping you choose your new season tickets in new Nissan Stadium coming up. Hey, what's going on? It's Will Bowling here for my friends at Lee Company. You hear me talk all the time about how Lee Company is all you need. 80 years of experience serving the Middle Tennessee area, whether it's HVAC, plumbing, electrical systems. They have always got you covered. I trust these guys because they are open 24/7, 365. And if you're looking to keep your home in great shape year-round, you got to sign up for a Lead Company home maintenance plan for $12 a month. Plan members receive 4 service visits a year from the Lead Company team of experts, a heating system tune-up, an AC tune-up, an electrical inspection, and a detailed plumbing inspection. 4 annual visits for $12 a month. For the very best in home service, you got to call Lead Company. Remember this phone number, 615-567-1000, or visit them online at leadcompany.com. Search home maintenance plan to join their membership today. 615-567-1000. 4 annual visits, $12 a month, online at leadcompany.com. That's Lead Company, all you need.
What's going on? 702. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. A lot of stuff happening in the NFL yesterday. 2 massive extensions. One, Jared Goff getting a boatload of money from the Detroit Lions. My monitor is out, so I'm stalling until it comes back on. And that's not going to matter because the update is going to... here we go. All right, Jared Goff signing a 4-year, $212 million contract extension, including $170 million guaranteed. Goff now goes from number 1 overall pick to the highest paid Lion in franchise history. After going 3-10 in his first year at Detroit, Goff went 21-13 over the next 2 seasons after taking Detroit to its first NFC championship in over 32 years. Tampa Bay also backing up the Brinks truck for safety Antoine Winfield as the All-Pro signs a 4-year, $84 million deal, making him the highest paid DB in NFL history. Winfield forced 9 turnovers in 2023, including a league-high 6 forced fumbles. In the NBA, the Thunder clapped the Mavs 196. Luka and Kyrie had a tough night, combining to go 10 of 31 from the field as the series heads back to OKC. Boston handling the Donovan Mitchell-less Cavaliers 109-102. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown combining for 60 points. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
$7 a.m. in Nashville as hour number 2 begins on this Tuesday morning. Ramon, Kayla, and Will is brewed up by 8th and Roast. And coming up in 15 minutes, voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, will stop by. Talk with him about rookie minicamp storylines, some of the players that are making big impacts, and the 380-pound sled that is making waves at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, our producer. I'm Will Bowling. We're just talking about Josh Allen. For my money, the second best quarterback in the NFL. He's got a new weapon. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is signing with the Buffalo Bills.
Breaking sports news on 104.5 The Zone.
We were just talking about Josh Allen. Will thinks he's the second best quarterback in the league. New weapon for him. Speedy wide receiver, Marquez Valdez-Scantling to Buffalo.
Yay.
Look at that.
More next.
Another one of those veteran 29-year-old free agent wide receivers that is going to a team to try to win a Super Bowl.
So, Ramon, how do you think Kansas City is going to build on being 1-0 in week 2 when they host Cincinnati? I want to hear more about that.
A lot of momentum for a guy in Patrick Mahomes coming off Super Bowl. Having the ability to win at your home opener, also the season opener.
Right.
Super fantastic for the Kansas City Chiefs. And of course, a team like the Ravens that have to go there, you know what I'm saying? Like, legitimately, like, they got their hands full, like, in Lamar we trust is all those types of things. But we'll see what the Derrick Henry look like. But this is the thing. We've seen Chris Jones stop Derrick Henry before, so we'll see how that all works out.
I believe you Ramon Foster.
Bert out here sounding like every girl I've ever dated except the one I'm currently dating and just totally bypassing what I say and saying it right after me.
Yeah. Oh, did you say that? I missed that. That's my fault. I should listen to this show more. But
he's like your
sometimes
little echo back there.
I know you are used to tuning out the people that sit in this seat from 10 to 1. I am going to need you to lock in from 6 to 10.
I got you. I can handle that. Sometimes I just can't hear you guys.
We gonna make sure you can hear us soon, okay? How about that? Is that cool? Because you rocking a Smokey sweatshirt today for you people that can't see Bert right now.
Smokey!
You need like a smoky T-shirt because it's summertime.
Nah, he got those.
Y'all
too.
say it's always winter in this studio, though. I don't know.
But
I'm telling
I don't
you.
know if Bert thinks that.
I do. I'm top and bottom over here, so I'm always like I always got a nice like long sleeve thing up top, but then I've got like my hoochie daddy shorts on the bottom. Yeah.
So what they do when you're in local TV a lot of times is the men will wear the shorts and then they'll wear their suit up top.
That's correct.
The duality of man, the COVID Zoom fit. Mm-hmm. Everybody loves that.
Love that. Love you too. How you think your Ravens
going to do?
I love you
too, bro.
Wow. Okay. Do you guys want to go on a dating show? What's going on?
We're just forehead kisses through the mic, Kayla. No big deal.
No. Stop denying it, Bert. I mean, that's what we're doing. Men have to tell each other that, hey, my dog, I love you, man. So cool. Let's make it weird.
Let's get weird.
Yesterday, the Titans announced Titans House, new Nissan Stadium Experience Center, will open for a limited number of appointments in May and will fully open to PSL holders and new Nissan Stadium waitlist members this summer. So essentially, this is an immersive process that's going to help you pick your new spot in new Nissan Stadium. It's pretty cool. Sales for the new building will occur in a three-way process. Premier seat memberships consisting of new premium seating options that will make up the first wave. Reserved seat memberships, which account for approximately 90% of seating options, are expected to go on sale in two waves beginning in 2025. All seat memberships entitle purchasers to secure specific seats in the new building for 30 years.
And Burke Nihill will join the show at 8:20. He's going to talk a little bit more about that and go into detail for y'all. But I'm excited, and it's really just cool to see how this thing is going to come together. If you are watching anything that's going on over there with the groundbreaking, and it's going to be here before you know it, but I think that they're going to do a good job of kind of walking everybody through this process, and I know PSL holders have tons of questions right now, so...
To me, the presentation of this right here, Titans House, it sounds like hey, you better get in now while we're offering it up, because it seems like this is definitely going to be a situation where these tickets sell out. You say what you want to about the price, and they've said also 40% of these tickets will be held at a cap value of about $3,500. So I look at this as a warning, almost for the people that are trying to decide if they want to go inside the new Nissan Stadium or not. As PSLs, right, is we're offering you every opportunity on the front end of this thing to get in, probably at its cheapest moment. Do that as much. This is me thinking this. If I was reading this and trying to become a PSL holder, it's, hey, I want to get in now, see what it looked like, and maybe make the investment on buying my tickets and seats for years to come before it's gone.
So the Titans are the first NFL team to offer existing season ticket members a credit towards their PSL in a new building. That is something we'll talk to Titans president and CEO Burke Nihill about coming up in a little over an hour. So current PSL holders and waitlist members will be automatically contacted in waves between now and 2026 to book their appointment at Titans House, where they will view membership and seating options in the new stadium. Sales will take place in three waves, beginning with Premier Seat memberships this summer. Those interested in buying memberships in the new Nissan Stadium must be either a current PSL holder or on the new Nissan Stadium waitlist and attend their appointment at Titans House. A couple of notes in here that I like. Sight lines from seats that are 38% closer to the field than the current Nissan Stadium seats.
Yep.
The closest viewing experience to the field of any NFL stadium. And I like that a lot.
That's what Burke said too. I think the first time he came in here when this was all going down was he's like, there is not going to be a bad seat in the house. And this is also not a huge, in terms of stadium, it's a little bit more small, but that's the point. They wanted it to be that way. What, 62? I think
right.
63 is about what we were. We'll ask him today to clarify that, but a little more unique experience.
Yeah, the fact that no other stadium is offering you credits, for being PSL holders in the past, I think it's super unique. Again, I think it's very inviting. Kayla, you said the numbers will be smaller. It's not like you got Dallas' stadium, right? 100,000 plus inside it or 90,000 plus inside of the stadium. Nashville has grown. This city will get more popular. This team, if it continues to show what it's done in the offseason, if your profile grows up because your quarterback is winning, these tickets will be hot to get. And we already got mock drafts from 2026 that also say Arch Manning will be in town.
I don't want to hear about that.
Oh, my God.
If I heard about that one more time on 3HL yesterday.
Yeah.
Respectfully. 60,000 the capacity.
60,000.
Yeah,
approximately 60,000.
Okay.
I'd suggest getting in.
For those of you who missed it, there was a mock draft for 2026.
I cannot.
That has the Titans taking Arch Manning. So if that's something you want to fill your brain space with this morning, then have at it. We're not the same.
And according to some, they're taking a quarterback next year. It didn't Dane Brugler actually in his way too early mock drafts had the Titans picking a quarterback.
I could at least get more behind that than talking about drafting a player that has not started one game as a college quarterback. Mm-hmm. That is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm. I need to go back and to that point, look at previous future mock drafts and see how accurate they were, because this is predicated upon wins and losses they expect a team to have.
We did that with Matt Miller's last week, and it was actually pretty good. He had a lot of the right picks. His way too early 2024 one this time last year was outstanding. Jeez. But I don't think it's common to be that
accurate.
To hit, yeah.
Coming up, Voice of the Titans, Mike Keith will join us. Rookie minicamp, new Nissan Stadium. We'll hit it all with the VOT next.
Fellas, if you're often feeling tired, noticing a lack of motivation and drive, or weight gain and loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone levels. Don't wait to find out. Find out now, okay? At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels tested. It's just a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you'll get your results back in about 25 minutes. Low T Center is not a typical doctor's office. It's a concierge medicine for men. Their physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with customized treatment for each patient. The experts at Low T Center have over a decade of experience helping patients achieve life-changing results, and most health insurance is accepted for treatment. And they also have convenient treatment options, including physician-monitored self-inject treatments for established patients that ship directly to your home each month without the need to come to the center for weekly visits. Right now at Low T Center, it's only $25 to get your T levels tested, with results back in about 25 minutes, as I told you earlier. So get back to your best. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
7:20 in Nashville as Ramon, Kayla, and Will continues. RKW brewed by 8th and Roast with Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. I'm Will Bowling. And when you hear the Sopranos music, you know that the VOT has joined us. Voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, on the phone lines with us here this morning. Mike, what's going on? How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Mike, I wanted to start with the two stars of rookie minicamp that aren't necessarily people, but the 380-pound blocking sleds designed by one Bill Callahan that, for my money, Mike, maybe have been the stars of rookie minicamp so far from what we've seen. The example that gives of the kind of teaching Bill Callahan is giving these offensive linemen, I've never seen anything like this before, Mike.
No, it's functional teaching. You know, that's part of it, is it's functional teaching that, you know, this is what you're going to be doing in a game. This is how you're trying to move a guy. This is how you're trying to stay low and get under somebody and get leverage. So totally not surprising. Ramon will like this one. Philip Fulmer went back to a Tennessee practice at one point after he was not the head coach. And one of the staffs that was in place there had an offensive line coach who did not use a blocking sled. And Philip's response to that was, you can't teach offensive line play without a sled. And, for those who are not old enough, Philip Fulmer was an offensive line coach of the ilk of Bill Callahan. He was that type of coach. I've gotten to be around three of them, Fulmer, Mike Munchak, and now Bill Callahan, and totally not surprising to me that he would have invented, Bertha and Olga?
That's right.
Yeah.
These two sleds, and to watch the tape that we got this weekend of J.C. Latham being able to get under that thing and move it, wow.
It's impressive. Certainly, Mike. And it's been really cool being able to listen to a lot of the conversations you all have had with a lot of these rookies and sitting down with them. I love the interview with Jaquan Jackson of the fake play call in the moment that he drew up for you. As you sit down with these guys, though, Mike, what stands out just about their collective similarities and the personality of these guys as you meet them face to face and look them in the eye? You got a lot of impressive football players, a lot of just impressive people, it feels like as well, Mike.
I think you hit it. Impressive people, different personalities. Some are really outgoing. When you see what we put out from our interview with T'Vondre Sweat, I mean, we're probably going to have to put it out in 9 parts because it was, we've never had a player like this. We've never had a player with this kind of I'm just going to warn you. Everything you heard about him from Texas and it is, for those who have not yet experienced T'Vondre Sweat, it's an experience. It really is. So you have that personality, and then you got James Williams, who's a very laid back, sort of humble, quieter guy. But the thing that stands out to me about all of them is how much they like to talk about football, how much they understand what their jobs are, whether they be the first-round pick to a seventh-round pick. They get what they're here to do. And I'm impressed because they're not interested in being famous, per se. They're not interested in all the trappings that come with the NFL. They're interested in getting jobs. Again, from the first-round pick to the seventh-round pick. They are interested in getting the first job out of college. Now, some of them have it, like J.C. Latham, but he's not taking it that way. Some of them don't have it nailed down yet, like a James Williams, who's in a 7th-round pick, but he knows what he has to do well to get a job. So when Rand Carthon talked about football character, that's what he was talking about. He was talking about those guys who understand what they're here to do. And, Will, that's been the thing across the board for all of the guys that I've had a chance to spend time with that stands out the most is they all have that. T'Vondre Sweat's a lot of fun, but he knows what he's here to do.
Mike Keith, the VOT, joining us this morning on RKW. So along the lines of that, Mike, how beneficial is it for some of these rookies like a T'Vondre Sweat, even like a Cedric Gray with Frank Bush, to be paired with what I feel like are perfect matches in terms of their continued development here?
Yeah, with the position coaches. I mean, Tracy Rocker working with Sweat. Tracy's somebody that, I've known for a long time, and is just such an impressive defensive line coach from the standpoint that he understands every guy needs something different, but what they all need are fundamentals. So he's going to put in the fundamental work, but some guys need to be loved on, some guys need to have their butt kicked, and some guys need something in between. Tracy can do that. Frank Bush is that kind of teacher as well, probably more direct in a way. Exactly what Cedric Gray needs to get, especially if he's going to play early. And I think it speaks to the overall quality of the staff, which we've talked about Bill Callahan. And you're talking about Tyke Tolbert at wide receiver. And you're looking up and down Randy Jordan with the running backs, the bunch of guys who are working with people in the secondary, Chris Harris, Steve Jackson, Denard Wilson, on and on and on. It's there. It's all there, and it was a staff-crafted understanding in 2 years that you're going to have to blend old with new to make a team, and a veteran coaching staff was needed to be a big part of that.
When you look at the wide receiver room now and making it official with Tyler Boyd yesterday, obviously there's been a lot of talk about Treylon Burks in terms of where he's going to fit. Where do you see him fitting this year, Mike? And how, I guess, is he in terms of kind of growing and making sure he could be on this roster for years to come? How much pressure is there on that?
There's pressure. Sure, there's pressure. I mean, it's throughout the team. I mean, again, when you think about this, there's a realistic chance that there are only 3 starters on the 2024 Titans who were 2022 starters. And that's the incredible amount of turnover. So everybody's under the gun. The guys making big money are under the gun to come in, perform, and take leadership roles. The younger guys have to take steps, and Treylon's right in there with them. We're going to play a lot of receivers because if you look at what the Bengals have done and you look at what Brian Callahan seems to want to do, we're going to be a lot of 3 wide receiver. We signed Nick Vannett yesterday at tight end. He's a true blocking tight end. But do we carry more receivers than we have in the past as opposed to tight ends? I mean, I think you can make that case. There's a role for Treylon Burks. There's a big role because, 2 things jump out. Number one, not everybody's going to be healthy every week. So, okay, you've got that. You need depth. And the other thing, too, is he's got an overall skill set that enables him to give you snaps inside, outside, and on virtually every special team, including potentially as the kickoff returner when you think about the new rule, covering kickoffs, covering punts. I mean, he has that ability. Nobody questions Treylon's ability, and certainly no one questions his desire to hit people or run over people. He likes to do that. The big thing for Treylon is just staying healthy and having the opportunity to develop consistency. If he's able to do that, I think you're going to see a productive player in year 3.
Mike Keith with us this morning. The VOT. Mike, you had a lot of conversation with some of these young guys over the last, all the time, right? Over the last couple of years specifically. And there's 2 guys that somewhat pop out to me. I guess a few. I think good teams have balance, Mike, on the back end with age and also youth. And the personalities and the conversations you've had with these guys, man, seems that they're leaders, man. If I mentioned T'Vondre, apparently in rookie minicamp, leader type. You look at J.C. Latham, too charismatic and too outward to not be a great leader. You look at Tajay, and even his former teammate Jaquan Jackson is coming in this year. How do you feel about this young era of guys not only to have to make plays, but will also have to be young leaders on this squad moving forward?
Ramon, I think it's a great point because you throw Will Levis into that mix as well. You've got several guys who do things the right way. In the class a year ago, that's a good class of guys. Even down to Colton Dow, who before his injury was doing the right things, was taking the steps he needed to take. Cedric Gray is so impressive among this group. Even with JC, who's really something, and he and Tavondre play off of each other well. JC, I think, has a positive impact on the whole class. And I spoke to the rookie class the other day and did a history lesson about our franchise, about the 65 teams within our overall franchise in our history. And, I'll tell you guys, well, I guess I'm talking to a lot of other people too. JC took notes the whole time.
Wow.
I mean, that, you're just praying. When I talk to young people, not just our players, but when I speak to younger people, my number one goal is just that they don't go to sleep. That's the number. I have the lowest bar in the history of speakers. Please don't sleep. And these guys were all attentive, interested. I think they've just got the right stuff about them. And I go back to the part of the football character and the overall character they have. They get this. They get this as a job. They get that football is their job. So many players walk into the NFL. So many players in the last 27 years have walked into our building and not understood you are no longer playing a sport. You have a job. It happens to be a sport, but this is a job. And I think the veterans that have been brought in are teachers of this, but I think the last two classes have that as well. And it's going to be necessary because, folks, they're going to have to play. I mean, we know JC is, we know Tavondre is, you figure Cedric is. I mean, you look up and down the line about different special teams options. And, the 48-man roster on Sunday, whether you're a starter or not, you're going to play. Very rarely do you look at that game box at the end, the game book, and you see players who did not participate. And it's anybody other than sometimes an extra offensive lineman and a quarterback, right? If the starting quarterback plays all the way through. You've got to be able to trust those players to do their job, whether it's 70 snaps or 30 snaps or 10 snaps. And I think that's what we see so far. Look, they haven't put pads on yet. I still say you don't know anything about a football player till you see him in pads. I've seen some guys run around. I mean, I knew something about Chris Johnson before he put on pads because I'd never seen anybody that fast. But the football part's got to come. Taking it seriously and the approach right now is what these days are all about. And so far, so good.
Mike Keith, with us this morning. Mike, one thing I'm waiting to happen at some point is for you to just grab the coaches, the entire coaching staff, and pull them back from the media, because the amount of transparency that's been given out, I think this fan base, one, needed it. They also wanted it too, Mike, but a lot of answers have been given, and one of those has been also the sports performance side of this too. You even had the director of sports performance, Zach Woodfin, speak last week, and I know that's been a conversation as of late. Hey, how do we keep guys on the field? What have you seen from him with the way they either warm up differently, the level of engagement, how they're activating certain muscles so that they can somewhat bring sports science more to the forefront than we've seen in years past, Mike?
To me, the biggest thing is the number of people that are involved. And that's been the biggest change. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. It was just Steve Watterson and an assistant and maybe an intern. And now it is a much deeper staff of people into the specifics. And they had started to go in this direction. More and more had been done in the last 2 or 3 years to add staff in that area. And some of those folks are obviously still here, and then more have been added. And I think that's really starting to grow. And that's Amy Adams Strunk. saying, hey, in talking to coaching staffs and understanding what the level of commitment is, that has to be done. They're building out more spaces to get into specifics about stretching and hydration and speed. And, Zach obviously has the team for the overall, and then you've got the strength, the different philosophies on the strength training. But to me, the big thing that we've seen is the commitment from ownership to really add to this staff, even from what they had been doing, like I said, which had grown a lot, but it's grown even more to where those specifics are there for the players. And to me, it's a feeling that you don't want them to have to go get their own guy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. A lot of players go get their own guy. They leave the building and then go do something with another specific area. Now they want to have all those people within Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park for the players. And that's just good for everybody. One-stop shopping is really good for everybody. But, yeah, our building is 2 years old, 2.5 years old, and they're still doing things right now to enhance it, in large part for the particular area that you're talking about, Ramon.
Mike, I just had real quick, my trainer who trained me, I trained outside the building here. He sent me a message like, great question, because he's a trainer too, but he was like, Woodfin, big respect in the sports and conditioning world, Mike.
Yeah, this is a guy who has gotten guys ready to play historically. And that's what you see from his background. When you look at his resume, the teams that he's worked with have been teams that were ready to play, that were obviously really well-conditioned teams. And that's what you want. We've had injuries, some of them, you can train all you want. If somebody falls on the back of your legs in a pile, that doesn't have anything to do with training. But what are the things that you can control better? And I think you're constantly striving to be as good as you can be in that area. And the Titans are like everybody else. They're looking for every edge that they can potentially get. And Zach and the group that they have put together, Brian Bell's been here for a long time and has done a good job, and he's staying. And, we've got some good people. Todd Torricelli and the staff on the athletic training staff are outstanding. So you put together the people who were already here and add them with more people from the outside to give different opinions and a different energy. And I think it works well. It's been fun to watch sort of that work on the side or before practice, just to see the different things they're trying to do.
Voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, at TENN Voice, where you follow him on social media. Mike, thank you as always for the time.
Guys, thanks for having me on. Have a great day.
Thanks, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Too.
There he is. Voice of the Titans, the VOT, Mike Keith, with some great insight on, I think, a change we've not talked a ton about in terms of sports performance. I think that's something we should dive back into tomorrow.
Yeah. He's intense, by the way.
Is
he? And he got into some real Woodfin in terms of his detailed answers about soft tissue injury. He looks to be something that can change the outlook of these players in terms of health.
Keeping them available.
You'd hope.
Coming up, we have another primetime game that has been made official in the NFL Week 1, and it contradicts a popular schedule leak that some of you were saying pertained to the Tennessee Titans. One team the Titans will not be playing in Week 1, coming up next.
I've been happy with.
It's Ramon Foster here for Artisan Custom Closets, telling you it's time to make your home into an oasis of calm before the summer with Artisan Custom Closets. They have custom store solutions that are made to suit you, your style, and most importantly, that budget. So you can get the clutter organized and out of the way. Artisan Custom Closets can help you get organized in any space in your home, from walk-in closets to pantries, garages even, or laundry rooms. Start with the free in-house design consultation and take advantage of the multiple financing options. Schedule your consultation now at artisancustomclosets.com.
I've been happy with
Wrapping up the first half of the show this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. RKW brewed up by 8th and Roast, and the schedule leaking people were wrong. I, for one, am shocked. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling. There was a schedule leaks account that had Jets at Titans in week 1. That is not happening. NFL officially putting out that it is set in stone. Monday Night Football, they're going to run it back with Aaron Rodgers and see if his Achilles will stay in one piece this time. 49ers hosting the Jets. Week 1, Monday Night Football.
Let's do it.
I like it.
Pretty good.
I like it a lot.
They got to go to the Bay? Yeah, they're at the 49ers.
They are in San Francisco. So they are in Santa Clara.
Santa Clara.
They're not in San Francisco. Not even close to San Francisco.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty
It is not
long
close
drive.
at all.
The storylines, there's none in this, right? No storylines in this one.
I've already seen one picture of Aaron Rodgers and his number 8 at Cal Berkeley, cut next to his number 8 in the Jets. That had to be a good photographer because he didn't have much time to take a picture of Aaron in a number 8 jersey.
Yeah, no doubt.
4 snaps, baby.
4 snaps.
Maybe he'll
Is that
make
what
it a little
was?
longer.
Yeah, I forget. You want to talk about a grand opening, grand closing. Good for Brock Purdy. I kind of want to see him cook. I'm like, Kayla, you mentioned it earlier, like the old guard changing now with these old franchise quarterbacks. And again, the Jets don't deserve to have nice things either. You know, it's just one of those situations for me is watching them kind of crumble. They've always been somewhat good, but not great enough, you know, since Broadway Joe. So I'm looking forward to seeing Brock Purdy cook in this instance right here. I absolutely love this. 100%.
I know. It's not like Aaron Rodgers makes a lot of friends. I mean, even if he's not playing, he's making enemies in the offseason doing whatever he does. But it's still intriguing to see what will he do or what won't he do at this point, because they clearly brought him to New York to be able to compete in the playoffs, to possibly win a Super Bowl. And now, after that Achilles injury, look, it's going to heat up once we get closer to the season and we see him actually playing or on the field. But it's not as crazy in terms of, oh gosh, they're going to make it to the playoffs, they're going to win a Super Bowl. I think now people have a reality check of, okay, he is kind of old. And look, he can still do some things for that franchise. They've got weapons there. The defense is solid. We know that about this team. But is this team going to actually be able to compete in the playoffs? I don't know yet. I'm really interested to see how his health holds up, how his O-line holds up for him to have health.
Week 1 so far. Thursday night kickoff, Baltimore at Kansas City. Friday night in Brazil, Packers at Eagles. Sunday, Dallas at Cleveland that weekend on Fox, and Jets at Niners. What we know so far about week 1. So we have all the primetime games except for Sunday Night Football in week 1. And week 2, we know Cincinnati at Kansas City. Another 3:25 game that went on CBS. Oh, Jim! Will be week 2 in Burrowhead. As they call it.
I'm already excited. I'm sure people get these. I know for sure Jets fans. I don't even know for sure, but I'm 100% truthful right now that Jets fans are already booking hotels for this 49er game.
Oh, for sure.
That's what the schedule at least does for a lot of people. They plan out their fall holes, set up flights if they can already, and book hotel rooms. Like the NFL is such a big industry. That's why I think having an event for this is one of the coolest things you could possibly have. Love this for the game. I'm excited again. I can't wait to see the guys out there for OTAs too.
Yesterday when the Browns Cowboys came out, I was like, oh, what is this? Like socks on Christmas. Why are you giving this to us early? Did you guys see why they announced this?
No.
Yeah, because Tom Brady is going to be the analyst.
Oh,
It will be
right.
Tom
I
Brady's
did see
first
that.
Fox game.
That will be the most watched game other than Sunday Night Football on that day. No doubt about it. You mix the Cowboys and Tom Brady.
So is it Kevin Burkhardt, Brady, and Aaron Andrews? Is that the crew?
We just know Tom Brady.
Okay, so we don't know any of the other parts of the
I think
crew
it's
yet.
just assumed that Kevin Burkhardt is with him.
Right.
But I don't know that.
The A squad or whatever you want
We
to
just
call
know that Tom Brady is doing the Cowboys game as far as what is in ink. But, I mean, you can look it up if you want. I don't know.
Do we think he's going to be good?
Brady, he's a former quarterback. Most of them usually are.
I think he will be outstanding. I think he has the comedic timing. I think he has personality. I think he is willing to criticize his peers. He's done it plenty on his podcast talking about how bad NFL football is in some instances, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think he's afraid to say anything. I think he will be outstanding.
Yeah. I'm hesitant to say.
I'm just wondering how much he'll love it, because he's just such a particular person in terms of how he does things and how he goes about things. And I'm just curious, is like, for a guy who played that long and who has had that much success in terms of being a player, what it will be like when it comes to his expectations as a broadcaster and how tough he'll be on himself, because it is different. In some ways, it's the same, but in a lot of other ways, it is different.
He does have Kevin Burkhardt as his play-by-play guy. That is confirmed.
The real issue is what's going to happen when he's starting games for the Raiders at the end of the season. Are they just going to bring Greg Olsen back to Fox?
Yep. Ooh. He got gold booted out of there for time.
I think he's still there. He just might be on the B team.
He's
on the B team.
The B team, yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's correct.
Justice for Greg Olsen.
I liked Greg Olsen.
He was really, really
deserves
good.
better. Mm-hmm. He is tremendous. If I'm every other network, I'm calling his representatives. Post haste.
I would be too, to put him on an A team.
He didn't play at an SEC school, but if I'm ESPN, I'm trying to get him on the new SEC game of the week. I know he played at Miami, but Miami might be in the SEC soon anyway, so
that's a good point.
615-737-1045 is our number. Coming up, there is a list on ESPN.com that Field Yates put together of 10 non-first-round picks who will have the biggest rookie year impact. There is not a Titan on this list. Should there be, and who should it be? Coming up next.
What's going on? Just about 8:02 now. What's going on? From the 104.5 The Zone Studios, I am Robert Walsh. Had a lot of bit of breaking news this morning. A little schedule news, a little free agency news. We'll start with the free agency news as the Bills are giving former Chiefs wide receiver Marquez Valdes-Scantling a one-year deal worth up to $4.5 million spent last year with the Chiefs, released this offseason, going from one top 10 quarterback to another one, and Josh Allen. And the schedule released this morning, another game as Monday Night Football will be headlined by the New York Jets and San Francisco 49ers. Second straight season that Aaron Rodgers returns to Monday Night Football in Week 1. So now, the games that we already know, the season opening on September 5th with the Ravens and Chiefs, Friday in Brazil with the Packers and Eagles, Sunday, the debut of Tom Brady for Fox Cowboys and Browns at 4:25, and now Monday Night Football, September 9th, will be Jets and 49ers. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show, and hour number 3 starts right now on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. RKW is brewed up by 8th and Roast. 615-737-1045. Coming up in 15 minutes, Tennessee Titans president and CEO Burke Nihill will join us in the studio. Everything you need to know about Titans House, about new Nissan Stadium, and the next steps for PSL holders, members of the new Nissan Stadium wait list, and what is coming up literally from the ground next to Nissan Stadium right now. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, our producer. I'm Will Bowling. Looking forward to talking with Titans president and CEO Burke Nihill.
Yeah, me too, man. It's fascinating. Exciting stuff going around this time of the year, man. Wanted to come in the studio. Kayla said earlier, in studio is always better, man. Burke's such a savvy dude, too.
Mm-hmm. He is. Yeah, I feel like he just answers questions like exactly how you'd like him to answer them, and he doesn't even know he's doing it that way. Right. I know he's going to answer some questions about costs in terms of PSLs, so if you even have a question and you want to add it in on the chat, let us know, because you are the people.
Yeah, legitimately, Kayla, I think that's a good approach to this, because a lot of what we'll be talking about is the business side of it that affects people day to day, moving into this new stadium, costs, the economics of everything, transportation in and out of the stadium, even starting this fall. I've heard some conversation around that already. Of course, there's a big old hole in front of Nissan Stadium right now.
Don't fall in it.
So we'll get those answers, those questions answered.
615-737-1045. Stay tuned for that in 15 minutes. If you are hopping into your office right now, you can check it out on the BART podcast feed pretty much right when the conversation ends. By 9 o'clock, we will have the podcast posted of our full chat with Titans president and CEO Burke Nihill, so you'll want to subscribe for that as well. Guys, ESPN.com yesterday has a list from Field Yates on NFL non-round one draft picks who he expects to make the biggest impact. There is not a Tennessee Titan on this list, and I assumed that you would either get Cedric Gray or T'Vondre Sweat on one of these lists. 10 on offense, 10 on defense. In fact, on offense, there is not a single player in the AFC South on this list. You got Keon Coleman, Ladd McConkey, Jackson Powers-Johnson, Roger Rosengarten, Christian Haynes, Roman Wilson, Jalen Polk, Trey Benson, Bucky Irving, Tyrone Tracy. That's your 10 on offense. It begs the question, though, which Titans rookie will have the biggest year one impact this year?
And it can't be first round, you're saying?
I'm saying any Titans rookie that will have the biggest year one impact in a positive way.
Look, I'll dig a little deeper down the line, and because it's been one of my favorite picks of the Titans during the draft, and I'll stick with it, I guess, is Cedric Gray. And I think that the green dot conversation is a little too much at this point. Let's let him grow into that role and kind of let him just get in here and get his feet wet. But what I will say, is when I talked to Mike Keith about the pairings of some of these assistants and how it could really benefit the development of specific positions. And he had mentioned J.C. Latham with Bill Callahan, T'Vondre Sweat with Tracy Rocker. And I see this as well with Frank Bush and Cedric Gray. I think that pairing is really going to help him develop and essentially will grow into that green dot role. I do think he'll be able to have that role. I just think with the pairing of Kenneth Murray, if he can shine and he can maybe do the things that you need him to do with the green dot, with the leadership aspect of that position, we could really see some benefits in his rookie year. I'm not going to compare him to some of the other guys who have had outstanding years as rookie linebackers. I don't like to compare, but I think he really could stand out because I think he's just such a smart player. That's what I gathered from even speaking with him. And you heard Mike Keith talk about Cedric Gray. I think he could make an impact in his rookie season, and we could see it actually benefit the team.
I think for this rookie class here in Tennessee, it has to go to a defensive player. I think the one that's going to have the most growth is probably J.C. Latham. The one that's going to have the immediate success up front, I think, is going to be T'Vondre Sweat. If you look at his pathway to the NFL, I think if he had not got the DWI situation, however that unfolds moving forward, I think he's a personality that will be up front as far as the NFL goes. When you look at how he can play, if Braden Fisk is on this list, T'Vondre Sweat deserves to be on this list. I don't know if it's profile of your team. I don't know if it's profile of the player. I do think, one, J.C. Latham, had they been paying attention to his interviews and how he is as a player, should have been invited or be one of those guys that's on this list, or the fact that T'Vondre Sweat is a guy who has a big personality that could be a day one starter for this squad that can have an immediate impact. He will, because of his personality, and if his play matches that, will be one of those, I don't know what tier player he will be as far as like the way the NFL puts him out front. But he has the ability, man, to take it to another level here in Tennessee.
One of these days, I'm going to put $1 in a jar so I can go first on my answer because mine would also be T'Vondre Sweat.
I'm taking yours.
That's okay.
I'll defer. How about that? I'll start going last in general.
No, that's not how this works. It's okay.
I kind of want to. I want to go last.
Y'all are more important to get your opinions out first. But I would say it's Sweat just simply because of what he does for Jeffrey Simmons also.
Yeah.
You put on the gold shades mid-segment.
I just felt like it.
You looked
what are you doing?
Looked like you were going into security detail or something.
I mean, no.
Primetime moan.
Fly though, too.
Don't say anything. I can see his credit card information in the reflection.
Oh my gosh.
So let me guess. He's either looking at tickets to buy for some kind of event coming up or shoes or a car.
You used to be better than this. That's what he's typing into.
You forgot the houses, okay?
Houses.
I was going to add that one in there.
You forgot houses, okay?
For the sake of conversation, the 10 defensive players on this list, Ramon mentioned Braden Fisk is one of them. I agree that if Braden Fisk is getting shine for this, I think T'Vondre Sweat is right there with him too. And Johnny Newton is getting surgery. Mm-hmm. So he's not immediately going to be available, perhaps.
Will they have a J-Rob lesson?
Huh? Well, I think it's a little bit different.
Wait a second on that one. Okay.
We'll give him a little time.
What I'm alluding to is the fact that you drafted an injured player who had a history of it, and now he's got to have another surgery.
I think it's different because it's not an ACL injury. It's not a back injury. It's not like a chronic problem. It's something they found when they inspected his other foot.
Okay.
And the back thing was just the biggest. The back is just something you don't mess with.
As far as Caleb goes. Yeah. Caleb Farley.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the other 10 players on this list, Braden Fisk, Tyler Nubin, the safety with the Giants, Cole Bishop with the Bills, Junior Colson with the Chargers, Cooper DeJean with the Eagles. That one makes a ton of sense. Cameron Kinchins with the Rams. Yeah.
I don't know about that one.
Melton with the Cardinals, Peyton Wilson with the Steelers. If he's healthy, then he's probably number one on this list, to be fair.
Yeah.
Braylon Trice with the Falcons, Chris Adams-Drain of the Broncos. Good news for Titans fans. Not a single AFC South player on this list. Either way.
The Rams got two guys on this list.
A.D. Mitchell's got to actually run routes when he's not the primary target to make a list like this.
Yeah, 100% right there, man. But most of them are the usual suspects. Like, again, how does Jackson Powers Johnson make it? But J.C. Latham does it. But I guess it's fair to say,
interior.
Joe Alt didn't make it either. So
more of a higher floor position, I would imagine. Drafting a center early second. He's going to be pretty good right away.
Christian Haynes doesn't make sense to me on this list.
It's non-round one, so you couldn't have put Latham or Alt on this because the whole premise of the article is biggest rookie year impact for non-first round picks.
And JPJ got a lot of love during the pre-draft, situation. I feel like that's why, since he dropped out of it, maybe they gave him
Jackson Powers Johnson. Most thought he was going to be a early second rounder anyway. I had him as a first because I knew a team that had a need there, Pittsburgh, which ended up getting their guy in the second or third round. So it was a need there. It just wasn't in the first round.
Coming up next, Tennessee Titans president and CEO Burke Nihill on Titans House, on new Nissan Stadium, on questions you are asking about the new home of the Tennessee Titans next.
It's Ramon Foster here for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Yes, they will handle all those items in your house if you need something fixed. I promise you, they're some of the best to do it. One thing I like about them, they don't have you waiting around. They give you a time in which they're supposed to be there. They'll send you a text with the person's face in the text message, his license plate to the van, and what time they'll be there. You will not be wasting your day all the time waiting on contractors to come to your house. This month also, you can be a happy camper with Hiller. With 0 interest financing for 24 months on select HVAC systems, generators, and tankless water heaters. Or simply take advantage of Hiller's $99 drain cleaning special. So take care of your home systems before the peak summer temperatures hit. Visit happyhiller.com today for details.
Tuesday morning, rolling on at hour number 3 of Ramon, Kayla, and Will at RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast with Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. I'm Will Bowling. Pleased to be joined in studio this morning by Tennessee Titans President and CEO Burke Nihill. There is always something cool that is upcoming whenever we get to talk with Burke in studio, and he joins us this morning. What's up, Burke? How are you?
Doing great. How are you guys this morning?
We're good. Do you always feel like more official when you come into the studio? I always would like to be in person if I'm doing interviews.
Yeah, I think we talked about this a little bit last time. It feels like it's a coffee house environment.
Yeah.
Here, right? Let's just have a chat as opposed to
coffee talk.
Right.
I feel like I'm not getting this strength anymore. This is way too much cold brew, Burke. I'll tell you that.
I was going to say, how are you not bouncing
I don't think I've finished either one of them I've got the last 3 times. It's way too much coffee. Way too much. So
yeah, that's like a bucket of coffee.
It really is like a bucket of coffee.
You'll survive.
Yeah, I'll survive.
Burke, Titans House. A really cool thing. I won't go into the bullet points of this. I'll just throw it up to you. What is Titans House? What is this to allow fans to begin the process of picking out their spot in new Nissan Stadium?
Yeah, the new stadium is a paradigm shift from the current stadium. It's just so completely different. And so one of the ways we want to bring that to life is by having this facility that is an experience center. It's an immersive experience where people can come in and get to know about the new stadium, actually see some of the elements of the new stadium. There's lots of great LED experiences that people can get a better feel for what the stadium is going to look like. But we even have things like an actual suite build out so that someone can peek in, whether or not they're interested in a suite, you can see just how different this new stadium is going to be from really anything anybody's ever experienced, I think. So we're excited to be opening Titans House and bringing it to life and getting people flowing through there so they can see all the things that we've been just juiced about for a couple years now. Every corner we turn, every different detail we bring to life in the decision making about what this building could be. We get more and more excited, and Titans House is an opportunity to bring people through, and they get to see what we've been working on.
So the waves within this, the first wave, you're talking about premium seats. The other 90% or so roughly on sale in 2025. What do those waves look like, and what is the timeline for fans that are maybe listening thinking, hey, I'm on the wait list, or I'm a current PSL holder, and when am I going to get a call about scheduling this appointment?
Yeah, look, I don't know that there's a perfect way to do this, but we literally have to manage tens of thousands of meetings. If you think about our current season ticket members, and then with a really heavy demand on wait list for people who aren't current season ticket members who've expressed an interest in learning more about it and potentially being a part of the new building. So we've got 25 people ready to meet with potential purchasers in the new building. And if you do the math on that, it's going to take a really long time to phase all those meetings. And so what we've tried to do is have a logical way of going about that. And we've said this from the beginning. We will communicate when we have something to communicate so that we can be setting people's expectations and being sure that there's nobody's in the dark about what's coming and what opportunities are there. So we are at that point where we have a plan, and we think it is a really good plan. Later this summer, we'll be opening up Wave 1, which is for the premier seat memberships. Think club in the current building, but it really is completely different than the current building. It's much more premium. It's a really great premium experience that the people have been asking for, and then followed by reserved seating in waves 2 and 3. And reserved seating is 90% of the building. It's your classic football experience, only a lot better in this new stadium. So all in all, we're probably going to be taking these appointments through 2026. So this is going to be a process, and we will, as we've committed to, to communicate at every step to let people know what we know, when we know it, and so that they can be in the daylight.
When it comes to PSL costs, what would you say? Because I know that's a talking point, and people are curious. Can we afford it?
Yeah, no, we've heard that question for a long time, and we've tried to assure people we hear you. The building that we have envisioned for the next 30 years, it's really, really important that it is affordable. And it has been a challenge to listen to our current fans, to people who want to be a part of the building for the next 30 years, and to break down this building and to deliver as many different experiences as we possibly can in this building. But we're really proud of where we've ended up, and we're going to have over 30 different price points in this building. To give you a sense of the current building, we have really kind of the lower bowl. We've got the 300 level clubs and suites. This building, we're going to have 15, 16 different types of experiences. And so there's price points across the spectrum. Those price points start with the reserve seating as low as $750 a PSL. And we're really proud of being able to deliver that price point. They go up as high as $75,000, but we're talking about 127 seats out of over 60,000 seats. But those are what people have been asking for, which is an ultra premium experience. We're talking fine dining style, all-inclusive food and beverage. Literally the best seats in the house. You can probably smell whether Coach Callahan's wearing cologne that day. Really, really high-end members-only lounges. So it's a building that's going to deliver on a wide spectrum of opportunities at a wide spectrum of price points.
And that's $75,000 for the course of the year for that seat.
No, that's for the PSL.
PSL. Yeah. Gotcha.
CEO and president of the Tennessee Titans, Burke Nihill, with us in studio today on RKW. We talked a little bit about just the uniqueness of this stadium. It's going to be a little more, I guess, experience-wise, you feel it a little more, 60,000. You said there's not a bad seat in the house. So like you were saying with these PSLs too, I mean, wherever you sit, you're going to feel a part of the action.
100%. The classic experience, every seat is much closer to the field. So you're talking about an average of 38% closer to the action. The concourses are a 360-degree concourse on every side. The terrace level, the seats that are the most affordable seats, not only are they closer, but when you think about those terraces, those beautiful outdoor experiences with the garage doors that open up to the outside, great food and beverage experiences, literally almost double the amount of bathrooms. There really is not an experience in that building that isn't pretty darn amazing. We're proud of it. Obviously, in this industry, you end up going to a lot of other venues, stadiums, arenas, baseball parks, and the rest of it. And not to talk in superlatives about the best versus others, but honestly, I have not been to a building since we started designing this one that I would trade for this building. It really is the attention to detail, the attention to experience is just something we're really proud of and excited to bring it to life.
Titans president and CEO Burke Nihill with us today. Burke, in this process of getting to the new stadium, there's a big hole in front of Nissan right now. What is the traffic the traffic operation for this fall and for the next few years going to look like for people that are coming to the games currently and to other events?
Yeah, we've had plans in the works. I am really, really proud of how those plans actually materialized for the Morgan Wallen concert. That was really the first big event where we had the hole in the ground where there used to be a lot of parking, and the amount of compliments we got from all ranges of people and fans who came to that game, the amount of work that went into that by, probably 30 or 40 people within our building, between the stadium operators, the security folks, just strategic minds, in partnership with the city and Metro Police and the rest of it. It really exceeded our expectations. We've believed the whole time that this actually could be something that when you go from 7,400 parking spaces, where you've got 7,400 people pulling in through the same couple tunnels at about the same time and leaving at about the same time, that there was a way to, as counterintuitive as it seems, to improve the experience by expanding that blast radius. And with one show under our belt, it seems to be proving the model. The real win for us is that there's 28,000 parking spaces within a 1 mile radius. And we have worked really hard to build relationships with a lot of those parking providers. We have one primary parking provider that we are just connecting people who are looking to come to a concert or are season ticket members for Titans games. And some of these parking spaces are literally as close as that La Quinta across the street.
That's right.
There are parking spaces available through this parking provider across the street, and certainly a lot of them are more of a walking distance than that. But it's proved to through these first 3 shows actually be in many ways a benefit, because it's easier for people who are coming and parking on the campus to get in and out, and then the people who have to walk a little bit to get to the parking, but it's easier for them to get back to the highway or get back to their neighborhood and get back. So we will continue to do that, and there will be the need to continue to communicate and everyone hopefully be patient with us, because as the city's project evolves around our stadium, things will change there too. But there's long periods of time that we expect there will actually be a benefit and from a parking perspective. So just as one quick example, when we move into the new stadium, the old stadium will be demolished and that land will be flat for some period of time, we believe. Well, that will be an opportunity to park in between the new stadium and the river, park lots and lots of people. It won't be forever, but for a period of time, we'll be able to park a lot of people there. So we will continue to take every opportunity, every resource available to us and connect those resources and fans and make it easier for them to get to the game.
Burke Nihill with us this morning. Burke, on the other side, too, since you last visited with us, I know you're on the front office end of things, but you're also involved in the football side of stuff. I said earlier, I see you coming through the tunnels when I walk through. How has all of this new change, new stadium, new coaching staff, new sports science department been for you and your adjustment, and also Miss Amy's also?
Yeah, there's a real fresh energy in the air around the building. It's hard to describe until you experience it, but I even have I had a coach from the local area stop by recently and was having lunch in the cafeteria. And I walked by him and he said, "Oh my gosh, it just feels incredible."
Wow.
The culture that is starting to evolve is really it feels special. And I don't know what that means for wins and losses this fall. I've got my guess. I won't say it on the air here, but
Burke's predictions.
I think this offseason, by everyone's expectation, you can have a plan, but as Mike Tyson says, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. And yet it feels like in this case, somehow we emerged on the other side of the offseason with probably a better outcome than anyone had ever even been planning for, because there's just such alignment. There's that magic word again, but there's this shared vision across Ran and Brian and Chad Brinker, and all of their teams are just rowing in the same direction. And in terms of building out a coaching staff, in terms of hitting free agency, in terms of attacking the draft and undrafted free agents, I think at every phase of that work, the results have been better than anyone anticipated. So it feels really, really good in the building. Miss Amy feels that too. She's smiling when she looks down on the practice field or is walking around the hallways, and so we're a lot of work yet to do this offseason, but excited to get to the fall.
Titans President and CEO Burke Nihill is our guest. Burke, talking about this stadium and the amount of new buildings that there are across the league, what kind of thought goes into making this building uniquely Nashville and not just a replica of things that have been done elsewhere, but making this something that is hyper-local that fits this city?
I mean, that's probably the North Star. You just described it. There are really, really neat buildings out there that they delivered on the purpose they were trying to deliver for, whether they're in Los Angeles or Las Vegas. But Nashville doesn't seem like the type of market that wants a spaceship to land on the East Bank. And even more than that, certainly there's these aesthetic features, the design itself, but we've put just as much thought into, if that's the hardware of the building, the software of the building. Like thinking about every step of a fan's journey into the building, how they feel, what are they looking at, how are they getting into the building, how are they experiencing food and beverage, And so just a couple examples. I already mentioned we have about twice as many bathrooms, right? That's an important feature for the building, right? It's not something that is going to show up on the blimp shot, but for our fans experiencing the building, they want to get back to their seat, right? They don't want to wait in line. For food and beverage, we've thought about the same thing. Nobody likes to stand belly up at a concession stand waiting and realizing they're about to miss the start of the second quarter. By the way, those lines end up pushing back into the concourses and create log jams. So we have all frictionless markets. People will be able to walk into these frictionless markets. There are transaction times that are averaging 35, 40 seconds, completely out the door and back to your seat. We're thinking about all of these things to wanting to deliver just an incredible experience. I would also say that these price points that we've landed on are a part of that as well. I mean, the 40% of the building are going to carry seat membership prices less than $3,500. It's important to us that this building for the next 30 years represents this city really well. That there's passionate Titans fans. There's like Nashville showing up for this. And it was important to us that we have consultants that have tried to push us into higher price points across the board, and we're not willing to do that. We want to make sure that this building is just it's all the right people have the right opportunity to come and experience it. That's an authentically Nashville building.
When it comes to other events, and I know people are already super excited about WrestleMania in 2027. And then the talk of the college football playoff championship game, they have revealed their next several, I think it's up to 2030 actually. But what are, I guess, your guys' process of kind of landing these big events in the future?
Yeah, it's a lot more than the Titans. We're certainly a big part of that engine, but there are a lot of people around the city paying attention to those opportunities and investing in those opportunities. We are certainly, any big event you can think of, we've got really good contacts. We have been talking to them about what year would be the right year. And honestly, I think the bigger challenge is going to be landing all the planes on the runway. Las Vegas has managed to do it.
Yep.
We are that's part of the planning here. These events want to be in Nashville, whether it's the Super Bowl, whether it's the Final Four, whether it's college football playoffs, WrestleMania, as you said. And but there's a magic to spacing them out the right way, making sure that you can pull off those events in a really special and unique way in every case. But they will all be here in time. And there's a really great group around this city representing tourism, representing the music industry, representing the sports industry, representing the city, that are all coming together and making sure that we go about this the right way. These are really special opportunities, but they're new, and we want to make sure that we're doing them really well.
We have gotten a couple of questions, Burke, about Wi-Fi, which I'm sure you always get. Wow. And when I go to an Atlanta Braves game, like whatever T-coil they have under the field there, like it's faster than the Wi-Fi at my own house. It's unbelievable. How much is that a conversation? I know we have no idea what even kind of technology may be available in that realm in 2027.
Yeah, we actually have an open position for a senior vice president of technology and innovation for that very reason. We recognize that this new building is going to offer new opportunities to get there first on things. And by the way, whatever we would plan today for 2027, chances are there's something better by that point. So we want to have the brightest minds in our building as in our current building as we start to take advantage of these opportunities. I have suggested I would love for this stadium to operate a bit like an iPhone. And what I mean by that is for those of us who are old enough to remember the first iPhone, this thing is packed with technology, right? But they did all of the right work on the front end, so you didn't need an owner's manual. It was intuitive, it was easy, and so, finding your way to your parking space, finding your way to your gate through security, showing your ticket, getting food and beverage, finding your way around the building, all of these things should be made easier by technology. To your point, uploading, downloading from your phone, whatever you want to do. But it also should be easy. It should be simple in the same way that an iPhone is simple. All those technologies are there right now, but if we just kind of took them ad hoc, it might be a complicated experience for our fans. And just like I was describing with the hardware versus the software, technology is going to be a really big part of making this an incredibly delightful experience. And so we're hiring at the highest level of our organization to make sure that we've got leadership that can be staying on the tip of the spear.
So, and I'm guessing there will be people in place to help the older crowd that comes in that may not be as tech savvy. Also, correct?
Absolutely. We've already really started to take some major leaps in the direction of technology over the last few years, and we have had to educate and continue to communicate with our fans as we go. I mean, it's not long ago that physical tickets was the norm, and we've moved to mobile ticketing, and there was definitely a process of making sure that we were communicating well enough, we were educating, we were staffing up at those spots to make sure that our fans, could get in comfortably. I'm thinking about things though, like the evolution in our magnetometers, right? There wasn't a lot of education to it. It was just people were confused about why it was so easy, right? and so that ultimately that's where technology goes, is that it doesn't matter. It really is that simple.
Gotcha.
Burke Nihill has been our guest, Tennessee Titans president and CEO. There's so much that we could get into probably over our whole show about what's going on in y'all's building. We always really appreciate the time. Thanks for stopping by.
It's a pleasure. I'm around. If you have more questions in the coming weeks and months, we're really excited about the weeks and months ahead.
They said we're getting comments now on the F&M Bank chat that's suggesting that you guys should try to beat out Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz for concession prices. I'm just spreading the word here, Burke.
Putting it out there, huh?
I love it.
It's something we're paying attention to.
Right?
There we go.
It's on their radar.
Burke, thank you so much.
Thanks,
we appreciate the time, and we will continue with more RKW coming up next. Tuesday morning, wrapping up hour number 3 on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. RKW brewed up by 8th and Roast. A great conversation just minutes ago with Titans president and CEO Burke Nihill. And if you missed that, you can download it wherever you download podcasts. Coming up in a matter of minutes within the hour, Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling. We'll get to what he said about price of the building and it being uniquely Nashville. You'll hear that audio coming up in 10 minutes. Guys, what'd you think?
Got a lot of good answers out of him. I felt like I thought the traffic conversation is going to be huge because I know there's going to be something we hear this fall. And Burke has already said the Morgan Wallen 3-day experience somewhat gave him a first trial run of that. You may have to adjust because of maybe shuttles or a little bit of walking distance, but the availability of parking should be somewhat similar. I know. Watch this fall. We're going to hear about it, right? We will, and hopefully it's even more smooth by then.
Yeah, it's never perfect. This Titans house, by the way, I'm excited. I'm going to go check it out myself just in terms of getting a little bit of the experience. Burke was talking to us after, he came on too, and being able to see a virtual experience of where you're sitting and how close it seems in every single spot. You're getting a really good view and you're feeling like you're going to be a part of the event that's being, is taking place, whether that be a football game or whatever there is, WrestleMania. It just seems like they're doing all the right things and they know the timeline. Like he talked about the technology. That's maybe something they're not going to do right at this point because technology could grow in a few years to where they could make the experience even better in terms of quicker Wi-Fi or whatever it may be. So they have an answer for everything. And I think that's really impressive.
I didn't realize Atlanta's Wi-Fi was that fast in Mercedes-Benz.
Correct.
I didn't either.
No, not Mercedes-Benz in Truist Park.
In Truist Park.
There is a thing underneath the baseball field. It's like a T-coil kind of situation. It's even though the games aren't on Xfinity has Wi-Fi within Truist Park that is like the fastest in-stadium Wi-Fi, I think, in the world.
Gotta love that.
And it's genuinely faster than my apartment. Like it's like hundreds of gigs of download speed or like megabits a second download speed. Yeah. It's ridiculous. So I asked the question knowing that like you could set in stone today what you wanted to do in 2027 and there will probably be new technology out by then. Which honestly is kind of the answer I give people when they ask about turf is like, well, you don't know what kind of grass and turf is available in 2027 that probably isn't now.
Yeah,
Same thing.
And of course, hearing Burke talk, you can hear he's very, he's very high on the technology side of things, and that to me, I think is super important. Like you said, not standing in lines for a long amount of times, waiting on concessions. Being able to pay and leave as quick as you possibly can, and the affordability of food. I think for people that want to go, the beer, the food, just the overall experience. I'm hoping that holds up its end of the bargain too. And Burke said it would. And of course, if you're going to specialty restaurants inside or specialty vendors,
that's a little
inside
different.
of the stadium, that's probably going to be a different cost because those people are also running their own business within the stadium.
That is the note about congestion in the concourse has been a major thing in Nissan Stadium because the way those concessions are set up where you are in the lower bowl, the line is where you enter for going into your seats, obviously. And if it's a long line of 10 plus people, then somebody's bumping into you trying to walk through the concourse. I know that's specifically difficult for people in the club level. And being up there with my parents for a lot of games, like if you are in line at the party foul in the Titans club level, and if that line is even 5 people deep, those hallways in the Nissan Stadium club level are so narrow that even if it's a short line, you're in the way of people that are trying to walk through. So it takes a while to get out of the club level after a game if everyone is still there at the end because it is so narrow. In the lower bowl and upper bowl, it's a little bit wider where you don't have that impact quite as much.
Man, it's like seriously, I may end up considering tickets like at this point. I think it's just going to be an event type of place. The Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame will be there. I think this will be an open venue for the city, like where there's more than just football going on at certain points.
One piece of criticism from me, can we start calling him Nihill? Because every time you guys say Burke, I think you're saying Bert. And I can't ignore you guys if I keep thinking you're talking to me.
And I think I'm going to call him Bert a lot, too.
I wouldn't do that. He does not want to be associated with anyone of my ilk.
Got to be careful when I say that.
I got you, Bert.
We need to start calling him Nihill or come up with a cool nickname for that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. We'll figure that one out.
Burke Nye?
Figure that one out.
No, that's still
Burke Nye, the Titans guy. Burke Nye, the Titans guy. Burke Nye, the Titans guy.
Burke.
I love it. He's probably listening right now.
I like where you're going.
Your brain is an amazing place. An amazing.
I'd love to live inside
and my
that
body
for a
is a
day.
wonderland.
Can I? What about Burt House? Can I look at what a PSL inside Bert's brain would look like?
Yeah, just let me clean up a little bit first.
All right.
Give me a minute.
615-737-1045. You can react to what Burke Nihill told us, and you will hear exactly what he said about what makes this building unique to Nashville coming up next.
We are just about to summertime, Memorial Day weekend. It will be official, and it's probably the worst time of year than to be dealing with that joint pain because you can't do all the outdoor stuff that you love to do. Maybe that's running on the beach or taking a hike, playing with the kiddos, whatever it is. You don't have to worry about it any longer. Hey, it's Kaylee Anderson. Listen, don't go through the summer months missing out on life. Call QC Kinetics now and find out how they can use biologics from your own body to give new life to those achy joints. QC's regenerative medicine protocols can restore, they can repair that damaged tissue with no surgery, no steroids, no drugs, and no downtime. And this is the future of medicine. Tens of thousands of QC Kinetics patients around the country, they're living their best life simply because they made the call. If there is a little bit of background that you wanted to know about it, well, QC medical professionals are actually under the direction of Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup. He was an orthopedic surgeon. He decided he wants to make life better in a bigger way. So he became a true pioneer in regenerative medicine, and boom, here we are today. You can book your free consultation right now. 615-249-4024. That's QC Kinetics at 615-249-4024.
What's going on? 9 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Two massive extensions in the NFL yesterday. The first one in Detroit as Jared Goff signing a 4-year, $212 million contract extension, including $170 million guaranteed. Goff now goes from former number 1 overall pick to highest paid Lion in franchise history. After going 3-10 his first year in Detroit, Goff went 21-13 over the next 2 seasons, taking Detroit to its first NFC championship in over 32 years. The other in Tampa Bay, as they're backing up the Brinks truck for safety Antoine Winfield. The All-Pro signs a 4-year, $84 million deal, making him the highest paid DB in NFL history. Winfield forced 9 turnovers in 2023, including a league-high 6 forced fumbles. And the latest schedule leak, we found out what Monday Night Football in Week 1 will be, and it's Aaron Rodgers once again, this time taking on the Niners in California. That is your Monday night game. Hopefully Rodgers can last longer than 4 snaps. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Fourth and final hour of the show, 9 a.m. in Nashville as we roll right along through this Tuesday morning. Welcome in. Hope you're enjoying your Tuesday. Beautiful day in Nashville, and that's because you woke up, you're breathing, you got air in your lungs, and you're in Nashville, Tennessee. Honestly, there are a lot of worse places you could be hearing our voices right now. Those voices are Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh. I'm Will Bowling. Ron Slade joins us in 15 minutes. Part of our loaded lineup. He will bat cleanup on this lineup of Mike Keith, Burke Nihill, Ron Slade, wherever you download podcasts. Our full conversation with Titans president and CEO Burke Nihill is there already for you to download and listen at your leisure.
That's convenient.
Sure is.
Yeah, super convenient. Love that, man. Great conversation.
Some good stuff out of there, too.
That's the kind of work that Robert Walsh does for you because he loves you.
Mm-hmm. Best producer in the world, Craig. In the world.
It feels so weird saying that. It's like if I would call Cheyenne like another ex-girlfriend's name. It's like
don't do that.
Well, yeah,
I don't recommend that.
Not a big fan of getting punched in the face, but anytime you call me Jonas's moniker, it kind of messes with me a little bit. It makes me think you're still thinking of him.
No, it's just
you miss his musk.
You know what happens whenever teams get new players, right? Change numbers. Hey, that's what you are, man. You're the new one wearing that number, Bert, and I'm buying your jersey is what I'm telling you.
I know you're never back here, but Jarvis did hang his jersey from these rafters.
Did he now?
I mean, Junebug did a good job, but you have taken the baton and run with it.
Yeah, Josiah did.
If there's one thing we could say about Juniper, it's that he cared.
Yes,
he cared.
He did.
And I've got to cheer for Justine's soccer team today, but that's a separate conversation.
Justine?
Oh, you're cheering for his soccer team?
Cheering for Tottenham. Wow. I'm a big Hotspur. Do not clip that. Dang it. If Tottenham beats Man City today, then Arsenal likely wins the Premier League for the first time since 2004. And that was talking soccer.
I love that. He has such like a mousetrap reaction that God, don't cut it.
Please don't clip that.
Did you clip it?
I'm serious. Please don't clip
I'm probably going to get it clipped.
It's like cheering for Kentucky football of the Premier League. Anyway,
football.
Well, he made Ramones. I love the Ravens.
Yeah, he did.
How he ever put it together. He cut it up.
I always hated the Ravens defense.
I'm going to keep the same energy when Kayla says go Huskies at some point and some other. You're going to be talking about. You'll be talking about like UConn. Like you'll be talking about somebody else.
Yeah, Kayla, how do you feel about the colder breeds of dogs, Malamutes? How do you feel about Huskies in particular, though, as dogs?
I hate them.
That's not.
He's trying to get me here.
Are you talking about what team did Michael Penix Jr. play for? What team did Michael Penix Jr. play for?
Oh my gosh! All right,
Fuskies.
So if we have Dylan Johnson on our show in training camp, then we can just play that for him.
We can flip that.
Either way.
There we go.
We can flip that, Bert. We can make that happen. We can
All
make that happen.
You'll get me sometime.
Burke Nihill asked about what makes this building different. I think this is a common question because every new NFL stadium looks like a Roomba. Allegiant Stadium in Vegas looks like a robot vacuum. SoFi is kind of the other one. SoFi, the gold standard for many reasons. But we asked Burke Nihill specifically about that. What makes this building different? And he gave us an insightful answer that had to do with price, that had to do with technology, that I think really summed up everything that he talked about with this building out there. This was Burke Nihill.
There are really, really neat buildings out there that they delivered on the purpose they were trying to deliver for, whether they're in Los Angeles or Las Vegas. But Nashville doesn't seem like the type of market that wants a spaceship to land on the East Bank. And even more than that, certainly there's these aesthetic features, the design itself, but we've put just as much thought into, if that's the hardware of the building, the software of the building. Like thinking about every step of a fan's journey into the building, how they feel, what are they looking at, how are they getting into the building, how are they experiencing food and beverage, and so just a couple examples. I already mentioned we have about twice as many bathrooms, right? That's an important feature for the building, right? It's not something that is going to show up on the blimp shot, but for our fans experiencing the building, they want to get back to their seat, right? They don't want to wait in line. For food and beverage, we've thought about the same thing. Nobody likes to stand belly up at a concession stand, waiting and realizing they're about to miss the start of the second quarter. By the way, those lines end up pushing back into the concourses and create log jams. So we have all frictionless markets. People will be able to walk into these frictionless markets. There are transaction times that are averaging 35, 40 seconds, completely out the door and back to your seat. We're thinking about all of these things to wanting to deliver just an incredible experience. I would also say that these price points that we've landed on are a part of that as well. I mean, the 40% of the building are going to carry seat membership prices less than $3,500. It's important to us that this building for the next 30 years represents this city really well, that there's passionate Titans fans. There's like Nashville showing up for this. And it was important to us that we have consultants that have tried to push us into higher price points across the board. And we're not willing to do that. We want to make sure that this building is just, it's all the right people have the right opportunity to come and experience it. That's an authentically Nashville building.
I like that answer at the end. We have consultants who wanted to push us to higher prices around the board, but we were not willing to do that. That, I think, at least speaks to the biggest concern that many of you have about being priced out of your new building, whereas you weren't in your old building. I don't know what that is going to look like. Obviously, we don't have numbers. We don't know what tangibly that means. I think we can tangibly certainly say the Titans are aware and working to alleviate a lot of those concerns.
Mm-hmm. I think that's why, like I mentioned before we got into this hour, like they're doing everything so strategically. And Burke mentioned to us how many stadiums, not just the new ones, but how many stadiums they have been in since researching this, right? And since putting out the models for theirs. And things are going to change in terms of making things better with technology. But I think they're just so aware of what the fans need and want. And it's not going to be perfect. It's hard. They still have to be able to make money, and these vendors have to make money. But I think they're doing everything they can to give fans economically a good experience and a different experience. And somewhere where, like you said, you're going to come into this stadium and you're going to want to probably come off your couch, at least for a game or two, to come experience it in this, city, because it is uniquely Nashville. That's what I get out of it, is it's going to be an experience where you can go and say, hey, we're going to do a special thing for our kids this weekend. Yeah. Or, hey, it's a birthday. We're going to take them to a Titans game and experience not just the game, but everything that comes with it. And I think that's what they're trying to do for all fans.
I do think they're listening pretty well as far as what this stadium needs, what this city wants from it, too. Even our F&M Bank chat, we saw a lot of people suggesting, and even the smallest things from like soap dispensers to like paper towel holders and stuff like that. All that stuff does matter. I do think that's going to be a crucial part of making sure that when you walk in, you know they've listened to you. And if you heard Burke talk to us, if you heard Nihill talk to us, then you understand that he's a guy that's very intent. Wants to keep it as simple as possible. He mentions the iPhone, the first phases of the iPhone. Like, I remember that, like, everything that you needed, it was very understandable in those moments right there. And the exact same thing for the stadium. Although it's new, it's not to be intimidated. It's to be inviting, and that's what I like about it, too.
Manual.
Exactly. And just the efficiency of getting in and out. That's one thing I hate. I'll be honest with you. It's the waiting in concessions. You're 100% correct on that one. Wi-Fi does matter, because what if I need to get a text message from somebody and it's jammed up? And then, of course, the efficiency of getting in and out of the stadium. I hate getting out of stadiums.
That is one of the beauties of Geodis Park, is the speed with which they do things and have a lot of those little markets that Burke was talking about. And bathrooms that have more than like 4 stalls in them.
Heck yeah.
As well. Because I think that is one of the struggles in Nissan Stadium. Again, I'm speaking from lower bowl and club level where I've spent some time, right? Is that you have long lines because there are only like 3 or 4 spots in there. Like, I think what my advice would be to the fan is, and know that I am in this boat with you too, because I have been a fan of this team for my whole life, and I have gone to games at Nissan Stadium as long as I can remember going to events. So like, I don't want to speak at people. Like, I'm speaking with you because I am also a fan. I don't cover games as media. Like, I'm just going to go there as a Titans fan. You got to get beyond the sticker shock of one element of the pricing. And that is one area where I think people get misled. They'll see a really big number or a really small number, whether that's concessions, whether that's a season parking pass, whether that is the price of tickets. All of those things come together, right? So if you have a stadium that has really, really cheap tickets, yeah, there might be more expensive concessions, but you're getting in the building for very, very cheap. So they've got to make that money back somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. Based on the market value of having a stadium, building a new building, paying that off, making money, because that is what all of these teams are in the business of doing, is winning and making money in that order in some capacity. But you also have the opposite, right? Like, you could have really expensive tickets and then you could sell $2 for a hot dog if you really wanted to.
Right.
So I think it is important to have the context of the entire scenario. And I think the Titans are, the thing I like is they're not going to pigeonhole you into, you have to have one of these 5 prices. You have to have one of these 5, like there's over 30 different prices for this. And I think there will be something for everyone, whether that's the longtime PSL holder from Nissan Stadium or the person my age who just moved back to Nashville and wants to buy their first season tickets as an adult.
Or Ramon in the club, right?
One of those 30 sections would be mine. I need 4 club tickets. Okay.
Coming up, we'll turn the studio a little bit more into a club.
Yeah.
Ron Slade joins us next.
Fellas, if you're often feeling tired, noticing a lack of motivation and drive, or weight gain and loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone levels. Don't wait to find out. Find out now, okay? At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels tested. It's just a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you'll get your results back in about 25 minutes. Low T Center is not a typical doctor's office. It's a concierge medicine for men. Their physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with customized treatment for each patient. The experts at Low T Center have over a decade of experience helping patients achieve life-changing results, and most health insurance is accepted for treatment. And they also have convenient treatment options, including physician-monitored self-inject treatments for established patients that ship directly to your home each month without the need to come to the center for weekly visits. Right now at Low T Center, it's only $25 to get your T levels tested, with results back in about 25 minutes, as I told you earlier. So get back to your best. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
RKW brewed up by 8th and Roast on 104.5 The Zone. And at this time every Tuesday, it smells like success.
Yeah, it does.
That's right.
When Ron Slay enters the building. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling. What's up, Slay? Good morning.
What's happening, good people?
What's going on, man?
Good to see y'all. I ain't seen y'all about, 3 weeks?
I know.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Man.
We were out there golfing. You called us one week.
Yeah, man. Sometimes, you gotta have it taken away to know what you got.
Distance makes the heart fonder.
Yeah. All that KK, all that's mixed in one right there, man. Big gumbo. Then I had to, give it time to let my
Look at you.
dog.
Delivering.
Got the Traylon Burks jersey.
Big Burks breed. That's me, man. That's me, man. I'm out here repping to the debt, man. It's on.
We got a Leland and we got a Slayland in the city.
It's real simple.
Both iconic.
Real
is what you tell me.
Leland Stadium.
One can predict the weather, the other can predict success.
That's all I'm doing.
Can catch footballs in all kinds of weather.
That's all I'm doing. Come on. That's all I'm doing out here, man. All I'm doing.
I wish people could see, too, by the way, when I put down the rundown of our show in every segment, and then every Tuesday at 9:20, it just says Ron Slay.
Yeah, we go anywhere.
There's nothing.
Yeah, we go anywhere.
No description needed.
Yeah, we go anywhere. All you just got to do is just throw a couple topics up. Man, I had a really good combo with Burke Nihill, though, man. President, that's... He always good.
Mm-hmm.
Always good. As transparent as he can possibly be. I think a lot of times when you start talking to people like presidents, CEOs, and stuff like that, it can go over your head. You know what I'm saying? But Burke does a terrific job of making it understandable for the common man like myself. So
Facts.
I don't need no cliff notes or nothing, Burke. Just lay it out for me, man, like it need to be. You do a great job of that.
We don't need to read the encyclopedia.
No, I ain't got time. I ain't got time for it.
The encyclopedia.
Yeah, exactly.
You on your way this morning, Willie.
Now that I agree.
You on your way this morning, Burke?
Man.
He on his way. He on his way.
What?
We can't hear you, Bert.
We can't hear you.
Translations.
Okay.
All right.
Little translations with the slations. Okay.
Who'd you have on? You had Tom Hart on yesterday.
I love Tom Hart.
You had a phrase that said, all work and no play ain't the Slay way. I'm like, damn it.
Put that on a T-shirt and sell it.
Savage, that's on the fly. That's when I got my mojo going.
Why you good at everything?
It's like the LeBron, Slay's going to give you a couple lines and let me give 2 more for you, right?
Hey, man. I'm going to tell you what, man. It's always fun, though, to be able to get guys on like that. Because that was my second time ever working with Tom this past year. And you know who he is. And I always see Tom as, man, professional.
Yeah.
He always got good timing as far as the little ad-libs, the little jokes he going to throw there, the quirks. And this is the only person I ever seen do play-by-play and still able to do text threads and tweet.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
you should see the text
really
of my brother
impressive.
during soccer games. Sometimes.
Like, dog, what? How? You're supposed to be following the game and you don't miss a beat. I'm like, hey, man, I be looking at him like, dog, you put your phone down, man. I know you've been doing this for quite some time, but it's fun to always get, feedback because he works with Dane. I was picking on him working with Chris Burke, you know what I mean? And so which SEC Vol guy was your favorite that elevates you, you know what I'm saying? And I was just trying to see what he was going to say.
Wait, so what did he say? I missed that part.
Bert, you should have had this already pulled up.
I missed that part.
I know you got a lot of things going back up.
That segment got lost in translation.
It is possible. It's possible.
I'm working on something for the 45 for us.
My dog.
That's a teaser.
He basically said, Tom Hart basically said that he doesn't goof around with many people, but when he see Ron Slay come through, he gotta play.
Yeah, you ought to see the text story.
He asked the question of who he like working with, Dane or
Chris Burke.
He said, I didn't know you could say this on there. I guess you got to be the right color to say this one, okay?
Oh, my goodness.
He said it. He said it worked. He was like, listen at them names. Dane and who was it?
And Chris Burke. Chris. Yeah, Dane and Chris.
Dane and Chris. What that sound like to you?
Oh,
he said, sound like 2 saltines out here.
Oh, my
He said, I love working with the Ritz cracker.
Oh, my God.
He said it. Nobody wants the saltines. Everybody
Not everybody can say that and pull that off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was sitting there like, okay, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Hold up, let him cook.
That's great. Put a little cheese on it.
Yeah, man. I'm like, okay. Go on and rock with it,
You
man.
want a little buttercream
Tom got the cachet, man, to be able to pull it out. But it's fun to be able to work with people like that, though, man.
I bet.
Former Tennessee Smokies voice, Tom Hart. I feel like
Did he really?
He is approaching honorary VFL status.
No, ain't no question.
Is he? He knows every place to go in Knoxville because he did minor league baseball in Knoxville. He has like so many connections at every SEC city. You saw me when I met him at SEC Media Days 3 years ago and how much I geeked out. But anyway, he
should have been the guy, man, in the running for that Braves job, but that's neither here nor there.
I agree.
He was up for that?
Absolutely. Yeah. He was the dugout reporter for the Braves back in the day as well on Fox Sports South when you had Boog Sciambi, who's now with the Cubs, doing games for the Braves.
Oh, back when you could watch a game?
Hello. Before I got blacked out.
Spot the lie.
Yeah, what did they put on there? Bally is not available.
Yeah, it says Braves or Bally is no longer available on Xfinity.
Yeah, be ready. Be better, y'all.
Yeah, that's all good. Hey, we're here for a good time.
What did you like about the I guess the Titans house thing that comes out yesterday, Slay, the Burke Nihill conversation you mentioned an hour ago, talking about making a building unique to Nashville. What does that look like in keeping this building from being a Roomba in the middle of the East Bank like it is in Las Vegas?
No, you want it to be something that sets itself apart, but be able to hold on to the culture and just the foundation, the fabric of what the city is. Like him saying that you don't want a space shuttle landing right down the East Bank. Absolutely right. Like you need something where it stands out, but at the same time is able to blend in. And I think the way they got that set up, that looks like East Nashville. The way the way it's coming along along the river, going all the way down to Topgolf, and the things they're gonna be able to get doing. It ought to blend all the way in. I wouldn't be surprised at some point if that bridge on the other side, on the right side, turns into a walking bridge.
Yeah.
Right there by the juvenile justice center. That right there. Huh?
How you know that's what it is?
Cause man, listen. That right there is a staple. That was a staple before the stadium.
Okay.
You know, I'm out east now. You know what I mean? I grew up on all sides, man. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying, Savage. Okay. I can take y'all through the nooks and crannies back through these parts. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't know the back roads.
I've never heard
I'm just saying the juvenile justice center as the landmark. That was right across the street from the club. I'm just saying. Get what, man? Let's see. You want story time. You already got story time. Listen, real quick before I get back to it. That used to be what? Sick Club 615 used to be Limelight. I had all kind of names. Shout out to Big Daddy Gaddy. Used to have that running. Dog, when you be out there partying, the Juvenile Justice Center right there. So, they got their little windows right there.
Oh, no.
They used to be right there in the windows, beating on the windows and everything.
We
see y'all out there. Boy, hey, man.
That's incredible.
You got to be real Nashville. You got to be real Nashville. Oh, no, it's live, man. Everybody be like, what up, man? Yeah, we been going here.
You should be out here.
Wheel like a helicopter.
See what I'm saying?
They want freedom every
bit. Get me out of here.
Okay.
But I honestly think, though, man, it's in the, like, when you look at things like the municipal, it blends into what downtown was when it came along. You know what I'm saying? The Titan Stadium now, it stuck out, but it was one of those big concrete pieces. Let's get it up. And they got it right there, and it was done. This right here should be done with some class, and I think where the city is going as far as transforming and welcoming people in, and you got all kind of different cultures that's going to be right here, and everybody can blend in and party together. That's what it looks like to me.
For sure.
If that makes sense.
It does, yeah.
We went all around the world on that one.
That's
right. But we get back here.
Great. I learned some new things.
We got there.
I'm telling you,
we got you today, okay? And 2 words for you. Chaz Lanier.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Where we at?
Dog,
how you feel?
I like where he is. As far as what you got to understand is these kids that are coming out now, these athletes, they have to play it according to where the market is. Because if you don't play it that way, you do it as a disservice to the people that are coming behind you if there's no barriers put up or a cap put up or anything like that. You can relate it to a sense of where you see the salary cap and free agency, how it goes along. If Savage and me and Savage both playing guard, his contract come up first, he can't take a pay cut just because he wants to stay with the team and reset the market again. He hurting me. That might be my only time to get out and get to it. So when you're hearing the numbers that are being thrown out, as far as NIL goes and things of that nature, I don't think it's the athlete that's setting that. It's the market that set that. You know what I'm saying? And schools trying to outbid each other and, how be able to dangle that carrot. And I think one of the things that you got to watch, too, before getting back to Chaz is you got to understand of guys that are there before you, where they really getting that money. How much of that were you getting? You know what I mean? So if I'm getting $600,000, they offer me $600,000. I'm asking the ones before me, just like recruiting. Hey man, how's coaching practice? Hey man, how's the NIL? That's a part of it. You know what I mean? Man, I only got 300. Man, they gave me 500. I ain't gonna know what other two. Okay, well that's a check mark. You know what I mean? Red flag. Got to go the other way. So that's one part of it. When it comes to Chaz being broken down as far as between Kentucky and Tennessee, I think you have to look at it. And he's a smart young man. Been around him, great family that he comes from. You got to break it down and look at what is going to help you get to what your goal is. I think he's one that's always been able to keep the main thing, and that's been able to help him get to this point. He was at North Florida 4 years. So this is a kid that walked into it, saw it, developed, went there, matured, went on to show this production, so forth and so on, just like he did in high school. Easily in this climate, he had a good year as junior year. He could have bounced, went somewhere else as junior year, played it out, stuck with it, so the loyalty is there. And I think when you got the state of Tennessee, with the University of Tennessee coming to get you, I think that should play a part in it. So me, personally, I would say, man, I would be leaning to Tennessee as far as getting them. The tradition and everything Kentucky has, I think, is a setback with Cal leaving and Mark Pope having to come in there and recalibrate some things. That same team isn't there. You're walking into a ready-made situation at the University of Tennessee. It's actually really plug and go.
Exactly.
It's like you got a roster with one spot missing that's set for your style of game to you to walk into. Like, you don't. That's almost a dream. You know what I'm saying? You don't get that. In the high school, you got to go out there, carve your way in. You got to fight to get to the. You actually have a spot where the other guys around it are welcoming you, say, hey, fill this spot. So that's your goal. We all see what's going on in the top 10 picks. So just supposed to go number 8, Dalton Connect.
San Antonio.
And it's undeniable. With this being a weak draft, I think that plays in part to it too. You look around, like I have to go back on my Zach Edey stuff because I think Zach Edey probably gonna get taken in the first round just because how weak it is. Reed Shepard probably gonna be. I could see him going 3rd.
Reed Shepard,
exactly.
Jeez.
You know what I'm saying? So and he's a player, but at the same time, it's like you, a little head scratcher too. At the same time, when you think about all of the talent that's out there, this is a weak draft.
I heard a conversation the other day, and I can't remember which national show it was, but they were having the convo about NBA expansion. And clearly, maybe even from the Northwest and growing up with the Sonics, it's a dream for us to finally get the Sonics back where basketball thrives up there. Right. But with saying that, the point was with expansion, they think the league's going to get weaker because there's not enough talent to fill these teams. And I really was curious about your opinion on this, somebody who kind of is around the game and keeps up to date on everything that's going on at the pro level.
Yeah, I think it's not a matter of filling those spots. I think it should be an expansion. And if it's not an expansion in that way, it should be an expansion more in the minor leagues where you look using the teams like the G League, you be able to use overtime elite, so where we don't have to go overseas to play. You know what I'm saying? If you can get that, me and my guy Richard Hendricks, he brought that up the other day actually, and we were talking about that. A guy real knowledgeable about the situation.
Alabama guy?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And it was like this guy, man, he you gotta be able to keep your talent here because we're boating and going overseas. So that makes, when you start talking about watered down, it's because the other elite of the elite are overseas playing in good leagues. You know what I'm saying? So if you can bring them back, then I think you kind of even it out a little bit. But until then, you got to raise, the traveling, you got to raise all that up. All this got to be changed. It's all got to be changed by the NBA. So
it's interesting, Slay, when you talk about a guy being interested in the Kentuckys, in the Arkansas. I imagine it's, all right, if my reps are saying I could get this, I've got to at least check it out.
Yeah.
because the conversation for a month has been, hey, for Chaz Lanier, it's the NBA process or it's Tennessee.
Yeah.
The longer that process goes, stupid money starts getting thrown around. Mm-hmm. You as a player have to do your due diligence to tell what's stupid and what's not.
Yeah.
And I think that is where maybe as this process drags on, some Tennessee fans, the BVS starts acting up. They don't take their prescription of 50 cc's of Ronslations in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And it's, oh my gosh, is he going to go to Kentucky now?
Yeah.
Like, you got to realize what's stupid money and what's real money. And Mark Pope is a new wild card. I don't think we know whether or not he's got real money or stupid money.
And then you got to also look in it and say, man, what is right there on the roster? Because with this time that you're letting elapse, at the same time, they're gobbling people up.
Yeah.
You're playing the 2-guard spot. A lot of the 2 guards are off the market now because they've already committed to a school and still going through the process, which is something I thought Chaz could have done. But you got to, like you said, you got to play it the right way. So he's going about it that way. But I think, man, when you look at it and that 2-guard spot is filled, it don't make sense. Regardless if you're the University of Will Bowling is offering $400,000, yeah, and then Savage is offering $600,000.
Yes.
And I look at Savages and I'm like, okay, yeah, now you got a little something. You just got to spread it out a little bit more, really. Yeah. But I'm looking at his and I'm like, okay, that's $600, but what am I going to be able to do as far as production goes? I think that's the key part in it, man. Yeah, you can go get the quick fix, and it's easy to do that, but if you got a roster spot that's open for me, it's totally different than me going there and betting that I can go outplay this guy. And what if we even? Then we got to split time, split minutes, all of that is different. You don't get that Dalton Connect effect. And that's the other thing. You got to pull back on that a little bit because that right there that's the top tier of a transfer working like
it's dream come true.
Yeah, you can't expect that to happen. But if you can get 3/4 of that, you're in a good position because this team built around. Would it be built around him? It's all the way better than the team that was there before.
It's exciting to, from his perspective, to think if I go to Tennessee, I am now making my hometown team a top 5 team in the country, like immediately.
Yep. It's no ifs, ands, or buts. They automatically.
Yeah, right.
Automatic. Top 10, and I mean we might have to fight over that one. We probably getting top 5. Yeah.
Honestly,
you got good players around you.
I'm told Robert Walsh has something prepared for us when we come back.
Wow.
Or is preparing something for us. I've been told, you can shut my mic off if you don't want me to say this.
I'm going to go back and look. I'll go back and look.
This is one of the, quote, stupidest things I've ever done, Robert Walsh says. That's saying something. So
he's piecing something
stay
together.
tuned for that next.
Look at this smile.
Wrapping up the show, RKW brewed up by 8 and Roast. Ron Slay is in the building. I have no idea what we are about to hear, and I think that is the best case scenario. Robert Walsh told me minutes ago to not pay attention to the red light that was in his studio. So he has been cooking, as they say. I see what you're doing. You are cooking. Somebody got that reference. I appreciate it, whoever it is. Bert, take it away, I guess. Go for it.
So, sure, we had Burke Nihill on, CEO and president of the Titans earlier. And you know what? I'm just a little tired of every time you guys saying Burke. I always think it's me. So we came up with a new nickname for Burke Nihill. He is Burke Nye, the Titans guy.
Oh. Oh, my God.
Robert Walsh.
We've got to find something else for him to do.
One day they're going to say, what the hell does he do back there?
That's what I'm saying right now.
That is
My man.
incredible.
I'm saying it right now.
And I grew up with, I don't even know his name now.
Bill
Nye, the science guy. Because now it's Burke Nye.
Everybody grew up with Bill Nye, the science guy.
Yes,
I mean, that was beautiful.
All you YouTube whiners out there, go listen to the
gosh.
podcast.
I will allow us to play that one time on the way out.
Please.
At the end of the show.
I love that
on the YouTube.
When you
I'll
talk
take the heat for it.
Yeah, that is awesome right there, Bert. Good day, man.
Oh my
to do it that quickly in like 15 minutes.
No, that was a longer deal because I said Burke Nye, the science guy, the first time and had the mix all perfect, had everything positioned. I was literally back here slamming my hands on the ground that I did that part incorrectly. So that took me like 20-ish
Mason loves it, by the way, our boss.
Love that.
Loves it.
That's my dog. That's big time right there, dog.
You are something else.
Incredible.
Yeah, he is. You said we got to, he's not Hill now. That's who he is.
So, Bert, I'm going to do something right now because Ron Slay is in the studio.
I'm in here.
And his voice is a part of this.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's, as of today, this is 9:51 a.m., September the 14th. Right? All right, that's not September the 14th. What am I looking? I'm looking at college football.
That's all right.
It is May. I wish it was September 14th. It is May the 14th, 2024. Robert Walsh, I now dub you the best producer in the world.
The best producer in the world.
I'm ready.
Okay.
In the world.
You earned
Craig.
it. You can lose it. You can lose these privileges if you make me mad.
You better carry it.
Big shoes to fill. But you know what they say about people with big shoes?
Oh, no.
Big socks.
Oh, I thought you were going somewhere else.
I thought she was going to say they got big feet.
I love it.
Yeah, that would have made sense.
That would have made
Small feet and big shoes look weird.
look weird. I've seen people
Probably
with small
fall
feet
down.
and big
Yeah.
shoes.
Oh, goodness. I want to hear it again. I'm sorry. I need to hear that again. That was so
What I'm
good.
going to say, Dree.
Yeah, men all those switching out shoes.
Man, you better know it.
Yeah.
Real. Real.
Wow. I don't even know where else. Slay, real quick. Tennessee beat Vandy again in baseball. I guess Groundhog Day.
Yeah,
want
man.
some money.
To get, before we hear Bert again.
I'm still waiting on the guy that called in to make the bet when we were at D-Bet on Friday. He said he wanted to bet $100 on the series.
What?
And I asked him, "Are you sure? Like you sure?" I'm talking about a sweep. He was like, "Nah, I bet the series." I was like, "Well, all right." I said, "If you and whoever wins donates the $100 to Home Street Home." I got Steven, so I'm sure they would be, willing and welcoming to that $100 donation. I can't remember his name. Not sure if Hunk was there with us. So I think Zelf. I don't know who was behind the board. Maybe Smiley, somebody. But should have wrote his name down. I'm still waiting on you to call in, brother. Donate your $100, man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Hey, you gotta be a man of your word, man.
That's what I
That's
say.
what it is. So next time, the confidence when it's bubbling like that, put a lid on it. Don't let it bubble. Sorry.
Betting on anyone who's lost, what was it coming into the series, 7 games in a row?
Hey.
Is not a good idea.
But you know what, though? Shout out to Vandy.
They did break that streak.
No, yeah,
which
they
at
broke
some
that
point
streak.
you got to break it.
But the weirdest thing about it, though, when I was just sitting, I was like, you know what? This ain't the time, Slade. Don't do no trolling. Just let it be. Let it die down. I had like 5 fans on social media hit me and was like, I told you we wasn't going to get swept. Told you.
No.
We won. We won one. We won it on us. Now,
the goalposts have moved.
I will say it was a hell of a series. I thought every game, honestly, except for
Saturday game
the
was
third
the one.
game was, I thought it was a really fun series.
Like, you felt the energy from that, and it was for it to get sucked out of there by Christian Coleman. I know it was like, man, this right here.
Christian Moore,
my man. I got his jersey
for the track shot.
Yeah, I said, my boy Christian Coleman. I was just
world
looking
champion.
I was just looking at him and Justin Gatlin, man. Yeah, so shout out to them. But Simo, man, was.
He came up in big
Oh,
moments.
Lord. Him and tears, man.
Never would have thought I saw the day they concede to hey, we didn't get swept.
You hear me?
That's from the fan perspective. That ain't from Coach Corbin. That's from the fans.
That's on the paper. That's
crazy.
Tennessee's record for 9 games was clean as a whistle. But anyway, that's a separate.
This is what I tell Vandy fans. This is what I tell Bama fans. Attach yourself to a Tennessee fan. We've been through this darkness.
I keep saying that.
We've been through this.
Saying that. I've lived in the bottom of that dumpster.
Everybody goes through it, honestly, as a fan.
There's a little couch and a pillow over there in that corner.
All right, Ron Slay is on from 3 to 6 every day, 3HL. You don't need me to tell you that. You're listening anyway. Thank you, Slay.
Thank you guys, man.
This is the musical stylings of Robert Walsh playing us out. YouTube, you can hear it now as well. Burke Nye, the science guy.
Burke Nye, the Titans guy. Burke Nye, the Titans guy. Burke Nye, the Titans guy. Titans rule. Burke Nye, the Titans guy.
Nashville doesn't seem like the type of market that wants a spaceship to land on the East Bank.
Burke Nye, the Titans guy.